Hello, happy Monday. Hi, hi, hi. I know we're doing a late night live tonight. Sorry, I was busy all day. Doesn't help that it's pouring rain and I have a leak. So, anyways, how are you guys? Hello. What up? How's it going? We're just gonna chill for a little bit, hang out. Let's get caught up on Nancy. I haven't really kept up all day, so we're gonna watch a few videos per usual. We're gonna go over a few posts. Shout out to everyone being here. Hello, hello. I hope you guys had a good day. Yes, a leak in my ceiling. Um, it's pouring rain here, so clearly it starts the day, it starts raining. So no bueno, but I'll have to get it fixed. Hi, 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 hi. Thanks for being here. Shout out to all the replay viewers as well. Yes, Alicia, I do. And shout out to you guys for being here. Please hit the like button. Turn on all your notifications, all them things. You know what to do. You know what to do. You know the rules to play. Hello, Vanji, Abuelitas, Alicia, Ramon, Osani. Hello, hello. I saw Debbie in here, old days. I saw Crease, hey Chastity, and then who else is here? Lee's, I saw Lee's earlier, old days, born twice. Hello, hello. So I know you are awake. We're not doing Jody tonight though. We're doing Nancy. I know I had a busy day with my family and then the leak, and so we'll be live early tomorrow. But so I guess the updates that I have heard about tonight, and you might have heard more, I wasn't really on the YouTubes today. But apparently, I think, they kind of know what's up with the DNA. They just haven't said anything. Apparently, there was a rumor that one of the family, there was a family member that I guess is connected to the car, which now I'm hearing is not true. So we'll have to figure that out and cover that. Then I'm hearing that the family completely has been cleared, which there's why I connected the dots with the first part that I said that they must have an idea of who it is, right? Or no? Anyways, day 16 of Nancy Guthrie missing. And guess what? TMZ got another ransom letter. I don't know what TMZ's involvement is with this, and I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear his bullshit unless he's going to talk about why he's in the Epstein files and just come out clean. Like, pay the ransom or don't. Why are these letters going to TMZ? I'm just really confused about that. I rewatched the Savannah video that she recently put out. We watched it here a few times. And it's starting to feel a little more personal. Like she's talking to somebody personal, not so much her mom. Um, so I don't really know. And so then apparently now there's like online streamers being accused by who I don't know. We might find out in this live about spreading rumors that weren't true about Nancy Grace. And I'm just like, okay, whoa. Like, first of all, it wasn't even regular streamers. Maybe one or two, but it was also big people from like Ashley Banfield. So, anyways, dropping a video on Ashley Banfield tomorrow. Check it out. She's in the Epstein files. I don't have anything personal against her. She's really getting on my nerves lately. But anyways, so where is Nancy? Where is Nancy Guthrie? And what the hell is going on with this case? Day 16. So we're gonna watch a clip from TMZ first, then we'll watch some Brian Enton, then we'll do a little bit of Nancy Grace. We'll go over Pima County's updates if they have any. And then we'll see like what people are saying on the internet. You let me know what you know, because I'm sure you guys know a lot more. I haven't been online all day, really, like I said. What about Nancy Grace? Yes, we will watch Nancy. Oh, Nancy Grace, you mean like in the Epstein files? I haven't seen her in the Epstein files, if that's what you mean. No, not Nancy Grace. There's no rumors about Nancy Grace. There's rumors about streamers. Nancy, we're just gonna watch a video about her. Or a video that she did on the Nancy case. It's a wild goose chase. Hey, William, yes, it is. At this point, I think TMZ is involved, says Chastity. Yeah. Hey, Dexter. I think a lot of people have the right to think that. So let's watch this TMZ clip. I don't know. I don't know, guys. TMZ being so heavily involved is just like, why aren't they sending the random letters to the family? Um, okay. It's just like 5 minutes long.
It is Monday morning. We have received a fourth letter from the same person who says that he knows where Nancy Guthrie is and he wants money in return for the information. Essentially, he wants the reward. So I have something to say to you. And I've already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime. And you should know that. And this is a serious federal crime. If you are real,
Thanks, Harvey, for telling them what they already know, what we already know.
this is the fourth letter you've sent. And I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is. And that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the second time he has referred to more than one person involved in this. He said there was a main person and there are others, and he said it here. He is saying that Nancy was taken to Mexico. Now, this is what he's saying. I'm not going to vouch for him, but this is the fourth letter. We have sent them all on to the FBI. And he also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. So I don't know if you're real or not, if you're watching this, but if you are,
this is the most ridiculous. If you are real, does he mean like if they're professionals? You know.
And I have told the FBI that we're going to do this. They know this. That if you're worried about getting this money and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. And that way there's a record that we have that you supplied this information. If they find her and they find the kidnapper, then at least there is evidence, because we have it, that you're the one who provided the information. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate. Send us the information. We will pass it on to the FBI. Okay, that said, couple of points.
Why is he involved? If the person's being honest.
One is the glove. I hope that glove has DNA that leads authorities to this kidnapper. But it is weird to me, because if somebody is at that house and they take Nancy and they get in a car to drive off, the first thing they're going to do is take the gloves off, because it's real hard to drive with gloves like that. And if the
Harvey, don't.
gloves go off and they're placed in the car, how does it end up 2 miles away on the side of the road? It just is weird. It just is OJ.
Now you're a professional on how people commit crimes. Are you joking me?
Asking doesn't make sense.
Like what?
And the other thing is that, you know, there are different theories here about, was this a burglary? Was this a ransom? As you know, we and several others have received ransom notes, and the FBI is keenly interested in these notes. I can tell you that. This seems a weird type of burglary, because if it were a burglary, number one, why would somebody be dressed head to toe that way? And number two, if it's a burglary and somebody wants to go in and root
You mean like why were they wearing jeans and a sweater from Walmart? I didn't know burglars wore specific clothing.
around for jewelry or whatever, it would seem to be difficult opening drawers and grabbing things.
He's too much, dude. I want to like, this case is out of control. Harvey, do you know how to be a plumber? Go to bed, Harvey. Harvey ain't helping this case. No, I don't think he's helping. He needs to get the hell off the TV or computer, whatever. What? And it's not my mail lady drives with gloves all day. Dude. I can't believe he's addressing this and trying to be the armchair detective. He's like, burglars will take off the glove before they put their hands on the steering wheel. I know. I've been there. I'm an investigator. No, Harvey.
Gloves like that. And if you take the gloves off, like, then you're going to put your fingerprints on something. So what's the point of gloves in the first place? So this does not feel like a burglary. Somebody dressed head to toe with gloves like that. And if it were a burglary.
So then what is it? What is it? Someone wanted to go and have some tea with Nancy? What is it? Someone wanted to come by and just chill out, cover the camera, break the camera.
You know, the easiest thing to do, if they knew anything about Nancy, is she goes to church. They could have just gone in on Sunday morning when she was at church. So this just doesn't feel like a burglary. That's my opinion. That is not.
Oh, okay. In the middle of the daytime. Yeah, let's go commit a burglary in plain bright daylight.
Act. I have talked to one law enforcement source who is like-minded in that. But I want to end by repeating that if the person—
Your like-minded source of 𝗝cie Banfield, no, Harvey,
who has sent us these 4 demand letters is real. And I'm questioning whether you are. But if you are, then send us the information. We will immediately pass it on to the FBI. And then you have a record that you're the one, if it's legit, who led them to Nancy and the kidnappers. And that will help you get the money.
𝗶𝗵𝗃 should not be involved. Like, why doesn't he just give them, the FBI, the notes? Like, I think he meant the dude didn't come to steal stuff. They didn't come to steal stuff. They just wanted to steal Nancy, an 84-year-old female older lady. Oh, okay. I guess so then it wasn't to commit a burglary. They went there to kill Nancy. He needs to put the glue down, right? Makes no sense. He must be eating jerky to stay young or something. Oh my God. You're right. You're right. We must uncover this. Did he tell his wife stuff? Yeah. Harvey, stick to Britney news. Yeah, Harvey, over there, go over there. There's a lot going over there. Didn't like Michael Jordan grope some kid or something? I don't know. I'm hearing all kinds of shit about that. But yeah, go over there, Harvey. Leave us alone over here. We don't need you butting in about ransom notes. Please just give them to the FBI and shut the fuck up. Surprise tea party. She was doing church virtually. Thank you, ATS. 𝗶𝗵𝗃 should not be. No. I see why he stopped doing cases. No. He needs to just chill out. He needs to go stand outside the people's court. Or just send it to the FBI. Yeah, what's going on with the ransom? He's paying it or Savannah giving him money? Like, why did I see that there was a GoFundMe link? Somebody's raising family for this, and I am blown away, you guys. I know, I'm trying to be as kind and respectful. Respectfully, I say this, but absolutely not. That needs to be taken down. If people want to donate, that's really kind of you. You have the best heart in the world. Oh my God. God bless you. But, or whatever upper or higher power you believe in. What the daughter has money. Why is there a GoFundMe? That family is worth like 80 mil. Remember, her husband used to work for Bill Clinton. So, he's getting paid for something allegedly, in my opinion. 2, he probably has a job. 3, she's worth like 50 million. So I'm really confused why there's a GoFundMe for someone that has that wealthy of a family when other people that don't have the funds could really use a GoFundMe or like money to live. Like I'm really befuddled about that, and just that is disturbing to me. Sure, people can do what they want with their money. That's fine. That's not what I'm complaining about. Is like, what do you mean? I get the intention. It's really nice, like I said, but no, Savannah can be that. She has the money. Like, I'm just disgusted, you guys. I don't know. I hope Nancy's fine and okay, and I hope they find her. But like, other than that, I don't ever want to hear about Savannah Guthrie anymore or anyone else in her family. I know it sounds really mean. Maybe just Nancy, you know? Allegedly, she's leaving the Today Show, which I called. I said she's going to leave the Today Show and then she's going to leave the country. So we'll see. We'll see. What do you guys think about that? Let me play the next clip. I guess like you can call me a hater. I'm hating. I'm hating on Savannah Guthrie because she ain't paying. I mean that respectfully, but people can do what they want with their money. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not the boss of everyone, but I don't get it. Because if that was me, I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll pay it, whatever. Sucks, but you win some, you lose some, right? I don't know. Pulling up the next video. 1 second, please. Hold, please. And then I'll check out the comments. Oh, let me check out the comments. Okay. Maybe the FBI said don't send the money. Okay, but the FBI is going to say, don't send the money. You're the daughter. You're the family. Let's have TMZ send it. I'm like, Melly's respectfully hating on someone. Dude. Oh, yeah. TWC Myers, Jinx. We said that at the same time. And they have pensions on top of that. They don't need money if they need money. I'm sure she has some kind of insurance too, you know? Like that would probably give her that money back. I don't know. I get it, Melly. Yeah. Who has a GoFundMe? Somebody made a GoFundMe for Nancy for the ransom. Hey, Giovanni. Good to see you. What? Yeah. I must be the only one who sees the possibility of a person stalking her and kidnapping. I mean this respectfully, but like, what's the problem? Does somebody have a personal problem with Nancy? Harvey, I know how to make a fettuccine Alfredo. Step out and forward that crap to the FBI. Yeah, I know. Harvey Weinstein. Oh no. So my question is, have they ever found out who reported her? No, Chastity. I've been saying that. Uh-oh. Cree triggered Millie's Epstein button. Yup. That spot on person just out. He wants to keep TMZ relevant. Well, after this, I like never want to hear from TMZ again. They do report good, like chisme, you know, like entertainment chisme. But I'm so over it right now. Thank you, Victor, for the super chat and your nice comment. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Not lacking crazy people out there. For the ransom, yeah. What happened to We Will Pay? Oh my gosh. Good point. We will pay. We understand. No, I guess home dog over here. What's his name? Harvey. Harvey's gonna pay it up, baby.
Sheriff this afternoon is officially clearing the Guthrie family of all suspicion. Very important development. We just got it a few minutes ago. Police hope DNA testing as well on gloves may deliver authorities, you know, a name, date of birth, address on a possible suspect tied to Nancy's disappearance. At least that is the hope today. But on that news, our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, is back reporting live from Tucson. So there you go. The sheriff clears the family, Brian.
Yeah, we just got this statement in Connell within just the last couple of minutes. So let me read you the full statement because it's quite descriptive here. We haven't heard the sheriff go this far before on this topic, and we've asked him about it before. But this is from Sheriff Nanos, the Pima County Sheriff.
Now
he says,
think Nancy
to be clear,
now they think Nancy's in Mexico. What? Okay, I guess possible. They're close to the border, right? I don't know. It's a real shit show, respectfully. I agree, ATS. Brian wants to go home. Not gonna lie, when I first heard this, it was fishy from the beginning. I want to watch her clip again because it feels very personal. After I've been watching it all day, I'm like, okay, now this is starting to
Guthrie
be
family, to include all
weird.
siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I am begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So it doesn't appear he's leaving any wiggle room here, Connell, saying that they have been cleared as possible suspects, including all siblings and spouses. So it's a pretty big development because, again, we've asked about this before at press conferences, and he sort of alluded to this, but then other times has said, look, no one's been cleared. Everybody's a person of interest at this point. But now he is going as far as to say that everyone in the family has been cleared. Connell?
All right, that's really interesting, and it adds, or it's in concert with the kind of DNA testing that we're still waiting on, right? The gloves and everything else.
It is, and you have to imagine that everybody.
What's up with the DNA too? Like, hello, science labs, hello, forensics, whatever. Like, does it take 200 years to get that? Because other cases sometimes get solved real quick. Not every case is the same. We understand that. But why do I feel like someone's like being protected in this case too? Someone's missing and someone's being protected. Savannah's plea yesterday totally looks forced. The sheriff's department is incompetent. Described by the president of the local. Yeah, we saw that yesterday. That was crazy. Hey, MSM, FBI, look at Harvey. She could be dumped anywhere. Hi, abuelita, it's good to see you. Yeah, you know, I don't want to speak it into the universe, but I guess we already have, right? Still no medicine. She got to be in bad shape if she's still alive. And if she does have medicine, then is it someone that cares about her? Or maybe the people who would be doing this whole ransom thing would be more pressing, like maybe send the ransom note to the family. No. I think they think they have a suspect. I guess if they were able to rule out the family, then they have enough DNA to rule out the family. Therefore, they can rule someone in. Like they might have an idea of who it is. Maybe they're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's. I don't know. Or maybe they're going to wrongfully accuse and detain. But I thought when you read your Miranda rights and it was a certain amount of time, if you were there, it was an automatic like arrest. Because Carlos said they took his fingerprints and stuff. So I hope Carlos got a good lawyer. But anyways, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So at this point, I guess, you know, like I said, I hope Nancy's found one way or another.
Probably in the family and in the inner circle at this point has been DNA swabbed. And I say that because, remember, they found DNA in Nancy's house and they have said that it's not Nancy's and it's not anyone in the family or anyone in her inner circle, which would mean that they have everybody's DNA. So I think DNA is the big factor here that we're going to have to keep an eye on in the next 24 to 48 hours because we've got the DNA from the glove that they're looking into. And then we've got all these swabs that are happening, not just with the family and friends, but you'd have to imagine these people that they've been questioning are also being swabbed. So that's how they're going to start cross-referencing here and try to figure out who they're going to remain interested in, Connell.
All right, Brian, we'll be back to you live in Tucson. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so yeah, what he said is right. Let's see. I was going to pull up the Pimas County statement, but he basically just read it. The Guthrie family, including all siblings and spouses, have been cleared. They're the victims, okay? To the Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. No. How about Nancy is the victim as well as the Guthrie family? I'm really not impressed. I'm really not impressed. Let's go look at Brian Enton. See if he's posted anything. And then we'll get back to another video that I have. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know, let me know, let me know. Everything. All your thoughts. Because at this point, I don't know who or what to believe. FBI agents 3 hours ago. FBI agents have been to several gun stores in Tucson with the list of 40 people and their photos. 40? Don't tell me they had 40 matches of DNA. 40. 40? 40. 40. What? If they purchased a weapon? DNA still has not been put into the CODIS as of now. It's still undergoing quality control in the sheriff's private lab in Florida, where it was sent on 2/12. It is expected to be inputted into the FBI CODIS in the near future. Okay, so then if it's not in CODIS, how did you rule out the family? I'm really confused. Things are not making sense here. So tell the truth or don't say anything at all. 6 hours. To be clear, the Guthrie family. Oh, okay. He just is repeating that. They're the victims. Okay. Yeah. Sheriff says Pima County has never stated that this was a burglary gone wrong. Any reports indicating otherwise are inaccurate. This remains a very active investigation. Today's the 16th day. It is in CODIS. They just saying they haven't. I don't buy that. That's what I just said. It was in CODIS if they ruled out the family, or is there a different kind of test they do with like, maybe it is. Maybe they swabbed. No, it's probably the same thing. Tell the truth or shit the fuck it. Yeah, exactly. The sheriff's department is a joke. They're keeping something. They're trying to shove something under the rug before they give us all this information. Allegedly, my opinion only. Listen, I'm just some crazy girl on here that likes true crime. You don't have to listen to me. You can form your own opinions. All this stuff is very public information. Yeah, that's all he has for today. So no DNA pending some CODIS to go into CODIS for some reason. 2, no one in the family is involved. 3, sorry, I just got an email. So since 2/12, so nobody in the family. Let's not accuse them, I guess, is what they're saying. Hold, please. Let me pull up the next video I have.
Whitney, who reported that, quote, "We can now confirm through an inside source," that's all she says, inside source, "investigators believe Nancy Guthrie abduction was intended burglary, and DNA evidence is currently being tested from the Range Rover that was seen being towed away on Friday." The Range Rover being towed away on Friday is a reference to that Friday night raid. This happened late into the evening Friday, where the feds executed a search warrant on a home with a female and a male, believed to be mother, son, and then also stopped a Range Rover, a dark gray Range Rover, described by some as silver, though.
Oh, CODIS only has criminals, so they maybe have 40 people that they're looking at. But if they're not a criminal, then they wouldn't be in there. So then maybe it's not a criminal. Is it in CODIS? Oh yeah, I already saw that one. Overpower the captors, trying to make us think in circles, so the criminals do too. Yeah.
which we believe he was also connected to the people who were inside that house. It's unconfirmed. That's our understanding, though. And it seems that they may have had a lead directing them to one member of this family, and then, covered the field with a search warrant on somebody driving the car, and then a mother, son, we believe, again, pair inside the home, and they searched the home. No arrests were made. And that's still being investigated, but doesn't look like, at least on first glance, they found their man, and they don't think they found their man. But what she's reporting, this Brianna Whitney, is that DNA evidence is currently being tested from that Range Rover that was seen being towed away on Friday. Okay, so that's still an open question. But the part about we can now confirm through an inside source that investigators believe the Guthrie abduction was an intended burglary. To say it's gotten pushback would be to undermine what's actually happened now. Both Michael Ruiz of Fox News Digital and Matt Finn of Fox News and my own sourcing has all said that's not the case. Here's Michael Ruiz. Authorities are distancing themselves from fresh reporting suggesting the Guthrie abduction is believed to be a burglary gone wrong, and that the widespread investigative belief, Brianna also reported this, is that Nancy, quote, could be alive. So they're distancing themselves from that. A local law enforcement source tells me this is not the working theory inside the unit, and adds
I like this comment that you said, Wilson and Alicia. Alicia says, Megyn Kelly has been enjoying this so much, so evil. I feel like I could put Ashley Banfield right in that boat. I saw a video of hers last night, and it was just so arrogant, and I was just like, wow. Wow. But I do think Megyn Kelly, well, honestly, the last few things, she said about the whole Bad Bunny thing, and then I heard she went off today too, which we're going to watch that in a second, but I don't know. Still, Wilson says, I still am in the camp that doesn't believe she made it home. There's no proof. Sorry, not sorry. I also think if it did occur at the house, it was a pros sheriff a joke. Agreed.
That nighttime residential burglaries are rare. Sheriff Nanos also spoke with Matt Finn of FNC. Quote, did not come from us. No idea. And even though that is one of many possibilities, we would never speculate such a thing. We will let.
She was just, I don't know. I think she was like gloating, she's getting all these views and stuff. ATS. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to play it tonight, but I'll send you the part that I think.
The evidence take us
to
it was motive.
From last night.
No suspects have been publicly identified. As you know, the FBI is currently awaiting additional test results on a glove. I'll get to that in a second. Then Matt Finn reporting, the FBI tells me it has no clue where that came from, that they are leaning toward this being a burglary gone bad. So the FBI is pushing back on this with two sources at Fox. I've also gotten pushback on this with my own sources connected to the case. I don't know this reporter, Brianna. She's been good so far, but everybody gets things wrong in the course of an investigation when we're trying to work our sources and get a lead. As she describes hers source, it's just inside source. Don't know what that means, but I think the two reporters at Fox and yours truly all have law enforcement sources, all of whom have told us that's not the case. So I would take that with a hefty grain of salt that they're now looking at this as some sort of burglary gone bad. The other big reported news yesterday came out of NBC and Tom Winter, who reported that authorities are leaning away from the Friday night guy. Again, this is the theory that there's one guy who was suspected, and we don't know why. Maybe it was cell phone tower.
Another Carlos. How are they allowed to do that?
Data that he was near Nancy on the night in question. Maybe it was a tip that was called in. Maybe he looked like,
oh, sorry, we got the wrong person again in the span of a week.
The porch man, maybe he looked like one of the other men that we saw on people's porches last week via Ring video.
It's wrong.
But something led them to this one man.
Oh.
And it appears his family around him. And NBC's Tom Winter reporting that the officials are leaning away from that guy, away from Carlos, poor Carlos, the DoorDash man who I thought we'd already ruled him out, but he's reporting that indeed they are leaning away. And he also added that they are leaning away from relatives of Nancy Guthrie, which is an interesting way of phrasing it. What does that mean? Savannah, Annie, does it include the son-in-law? Tommaso, who's married to Annie? You could could thread that needle such that it doesn't, but I think relatives would fairly encompass the son-in-law. And that does not dovetail with our own reporting today. We have contacted our law enforcement sources, and we have been steered off of that, saying no one has been cleared. They have not moved away from anyone.
What?
And until they have a perpetrator under arrest, assume everyone is still under scrutiny. So
the family's cleared, but not anybody else.
The NBC report may have led to some in the Guthrie family feeling a bit relieved this morning. I'm here to tell you they should not feel relieved. Everyone is still under scrutiny until someone is in handcuffs. And that includes members of the Guthrie family. Sorry, but that's the truth. And I trust my source absolutely. Okay. This is somebody with impeccable credentials. And
this is like how Ashley sounded last night. She's like, I'm getting the views. Well, she didn't say that, but that's what it felt like. She's saying, she's like, I'm now here full time. And I'm just like, she's like, my source is the best. I'm just being a hater, but let's go back to that.
They should not feel relieved. Everyone is still under scrutiny until someone is in handcuffs. And that includes members of the Guthrie family. Sorry, but that's the truth. And I trust my source absolutely. Okay. This is somebody with impeccable credentials and is in a position to know. And so I wouldn't be getting too relieved if I were anybody in the Guthrie family or elsewhere for that matter.
Megan, spill the beans. What do you know? Is your source law enforcement?
We've never suggested it has to be this guy Tommaso. We haven't suggested that he's off the hook either. So I think keep an open mind. Want to keep going now on the reporting. Okay, that Range Rover that was stopped during the traffic stop the other night. I mean, it is of interest. Like, what led them to this Range Rover?
Oh, shit.
It was stopped in a Culver's parking lot about 2 hours from Nancy Guthrie's home. And the person who was driving it was detained, was handcuffed, and there was plenty of video of the FBI interviewing this man. I think it was the FBI. It was a federal warrant, but the local law enforcement, I believe, was also in the field. He was later released. No arrests made, and the vehicle has been impounded and sealed. So they are still trying to extract DNA or other evidence from that vehicle, and who knows whether that one could eventually pan out. I'm drinking more coffee right now because did you guys see the report that those who drank 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day staved off dementia? Like 70% of them. It was crazy. Like the numbers. Check Alec Berenson's X feed because he tweeted out the medical study. Here I go.
Good, because I've been doing that for a very long time.
2 to 3 has to be caffeinated cups a day, or 1 to 2 cups of tea. Showed amazing results in staving off
Girl, I've been doing that since like 20 years ago. Like, what do you mean?
Dementia. So drink your coffee. It's amazing. Over the years, try as they might, they cannot prove that coffee is bad for you. Isn't that a gift? I mean, we're just waiting for the similar study on alcohol. But right now, it's coffee. So drink your coffee and steer clear of the booze because everybody says that one's bad for you. Okay, so no one has been.
I guess driving your car could be bad too.
Excluded.
I don't know.
And pushback on the theory that it's a burglary, and also the theory that they've
could be
moved
bad for
away
your brain
from
and your
the
lungs.
family. And here we are, 2 weeks and a day removed from the day they determined that Nancy was missing. Yesterday was the 2-week anniversary, if you will, forgive the term, of when she was discovered missing. It was overnight Saturday into Sunday, January 31st into Sunday, February 1st. And perhaps the most promising lead they have to go on right now, other than those porch pictures of the perpetrator. Well, there are 2, which I want to talk to you about.
I mean, come on now. I know.
One is the possibility that
I'm like, did you ever drink out of a plastic bottle?
Nancy's Nest camera retained other photographs, just like it retained the
Did you ever meet with some weird bacteria in it? Could die from anything.
Photographs of Porchman. And Sheriff Nanos gave an interview to the Daily Mail, which was eye-opening, saying, by the way, he too pushed back the thought that this was a burglary gone bad. He said, again, this is a kidnapping. The only thing we're really looking for was the motive, and that we don't know, but did not seem to think this was some guy trying to burgle the house, which doesn't make any sense anyway. He had a backpack on his back that was stuffed to the gills. That he didn't have some empty bag. Okay, he might have had some Santa's sack inside that he was going to unveil once he walked in. But do we really believe that? Not a thing was taken. If this is a burglary gone bad, wouldn't you at least get your loot? How is your, his loot was an 84-year-old woman. There is
facts. I was just going to say, okay, so then we know it's not a burglary gone wrong / burglary. It's a legit kidnapping. They were there for Nancy and Nancy only.
No evidence thus far, nor has Sheriff Nanos even suggested otherwise, that anything was taken inside. And in fact, Nanos has been dumping on the idea that this was a burglary gone bad, which he wouldn't have done if some massive thing of value was missing from inside the home. International disputes, inflation.
No. Okay, so let's go. I want to watch her episode, more of her episode. But before we get back to more Megan, let's watch this 6-minute one, and then I want to replay. Actually, let's replay the IG video, the last one.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Why do I feel like she knows who she's talking to? She's like, the goodness. I know you have it in there. They know something we don't know. Thank you, Ruth. See, where's the tear? Where's the aggression? Where's the plea? I'm not buying it. No, one bit. No, I'm glad that you're going to the doctor, not that you have a headache. That is so forced. Yes. They know. Yeah, I already read that. They know something we don't know. I agree with that. If she was even there, I'll be respectful of family, but I have my thoughts. Because she does know who she's talking to. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I hate to get all crazy, but I can't control myself. I can't. Okay, let's watch this 6-minute clip from Fox. Oh, dang. And then I want to watch another one of Megyn Kelly.
Bombing investigation and founded the FBI's very elite hostage rescue team. He is one of the original creators of the method that is used in many of these negotiations. Dan O'Shea joins me as well, retired Navy SEAL commander and also a former hostage negotiator. Danny Colson, let me start with you, if I may. You hear Savannah Guthrie. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me today. You hear Savannah Guthrie trying to appeal to their humanity a bit. It's never too late to do the right thing. You're not alone. You're not lost. What does this message tell you, and how do you think it would be perceived if someone out there is still holding her mother?
Well, I understand her position and her sorrow, and you want to do something. So that's basically the reason they put these videos out. But I'm going to be very hard case here. The people that would kidnap a woman like this They don't care. They are evil people. I don't think that.
Yeah, out of the goodness of your heart, like, why is she still pleading? They want the ransom money, like.
It's going to impact upon them, except this.
I have nothing
The
nice to
FBI
say, I
is
guess.
coming for you. They're not going to stop. They're going to get you. We always do. And your only hope is to give up and come in, and that'll save your life. If you've caused harm to this woman, you're looking at the death penalty here. And you can avoid that by cooperating and helping us. But if you don't, you're going to wake up one morning to an FBI SWAT team, and they're going to do everything they can to convict you under the Constitution, and you will ultimately pay the price.
Thank you, Kennedy, for the bronze medal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so kind. I appreciate that. I just saw it. Sorry, there's two different screens.
You know, I think that those words are, I hope they provide some consolation for this family, because as you have said, Danny, the FBI will never give up on this case.
No.
They will stick with it. We know there's a person who's in front of that camera. He exists out there, is 99.9% very involved in all of this and knows something. And I think that's one of the interesting things here. She's appealing to people out there know what happened. So they are sitting on that knowledge, and she's asking them to come forward and to find it in some way to do the right thing. I want to play this for Dan O'Shea. This is TMZ's 𝗲𝗵𝗹𝗆𝗆. Now, I want to point out that we cannot independently confirm what TMZ is reporting, but they've been going back and forth with some people. Some of it may be legit, some may not, but they're putting these things out there to see if it helps. Let's listen to this from 𝗲𝗵𝗹𝗆𝗆 for Dan O'Shea.
In this letter, it says,
God, here we go.
I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is. And that was definitely Nancy with.
So Nancy, the ransom note is saying that Nancy's still alive and she was on the border going into Mexico.
Them. He is saying that Nancy was taken to Mexico.
Dan O'Shea, unravel that for us. How much credibility, if any, do you put in that message?
Well, if I'm correct, that's the.
Go ahead, Dan O'Shea.
Yes, I believe if that's the third ransom note, that when this person said, I can give up the information on who was responsible and who was on that video, they also were asking for a Bitcoin, roughly $65,000, but they wanted to keep, in the shadows. But ultimately, the FBI already upgraded the reward to $100,000. And like Savannah Guthrie put out, someone out there knows who's involved in this. They need to do the right thing. And they need to call that tip line and let the FBI and local law enforcement get that critical lead, which let's hope that glove is going to be that critical lead. But they are going to be relentless, as my counterpart, Danny Coulson, just said. The FBI is going to hunt them down. They get their most wanted, and this person will be facing justice. Better now than at the FBI HRT at your door.
Great.
Absolutely. Danny.
Justice sounds great. How about Nancy alive, though?
Danny Coulson, back to you, sir. We have this glove, and they're running DNA on the glove. They have the height and, approximate weight of this person and a picture that includes his eyes. So you put the glove together, you put these images together, and then they're trying to triangulate these purchases that may have been made at a Walmart. How does all that get put together for you, and is it promising, do you think?
I think it's promising. You can't find somebody based on their DNA. You can match it with their known DNA, but it doesn't work backwards. It doesn't find them. But I'm going to give you an example. Pan Am 103, the bombing in Lockerbie, was solved because the FBI found a switch that was a sign of a little fingernail and traced it to the manufacturer and ultimately to the bombers. All these things will work. It just takes time. And I think people need to be patient. This is a hard case. I've done some hard cases. This is a hard one. And they're going to find this guy. maybe a guy or two or three or whatever, but they're going to find them. And don't think they're going to forget about it. They're not. We don't do that. We go until the end of time to find somebody, and they will find it. I'm just worried about the health of this woman. And this has to be very traumatic for her. Oftentimes, accidents happen in an abduction, and I hope that's not the case here. But I think don't forget the power of prayer. We need to pray for her.
So well said. And we know Savannah Guthrie knows the power of prayer. She's a real strong person of faith, as is her mother. And you know, all of these things need to be working together right now. I think everybody wants the anguish that you see on Savannah's face to end for this family. And a lot of families out there understand how she feels right now. You've worked with many of them. Danny Colson, thank you.
Anguish. Let's go back to when Alicia said, so do we have to sneeze? Do we get a press conference? Do we? We should have got one today, no? When they cleared the family. Why aren't they doing a press conference? They're just putting stuff on social media. Like, if they don't know if it's legit, where are they putting it out? You can't trust Team Z. Her name is Sylvia. It's like they're trying to rush the story talking about justice, but we haven't even found her and still no arrest. Yeah, and they keep getting the wrong person, aka Carlos. Yeah, please, please, please hit the like button, because, you know, YouTube's coming for me because of Epstein. I thought CSI technology was more advanced than that. You're humor me. I thought so too. But and then they're saying what they will start implementing more cameras. More? Have they disclosed what faith? I hope it's not anything from the Epstein files. Not relevant, just curious. Facts. I want to see the anguish off everyone's face who has someone missing, like kids. Maybe the little girls in the Epstein files. Bless you. Thank you. Carlos was done dirty. I know. Okay, let's watch Megyn Kelly, and then we'll check. I just want to make sure we get all the info, because clearly PIMA's one little post for the day on a 16-day case doesn't suffice for me. So we're gonna look for other stuff. Okay. Thanks for being here.
And what it takes to get you the biggest reduction possible. You don't know all that stuff. You can't.
No, we're good.
Seems that they may have had a lead directing them to one member of this family, and then, you know, covered the field with a search warrant on somebody driving the car, and then a mother, son, we believe, again, pair inside the home, and they searched the home. No arrests were made. And that's still being investigated, but doesn't look like, at least on first glance, they found their man, and they don't think they found their man. But what she's reporting, this Brianna Whitney, is that DNA evidence is currently being tested from that Range Rover that was seen being towed away on Friday. Okay, so that's still an open question. But the part about we can now confirm through an inside source that investigators believe the Guthrie abduction was an intended burglary. To say it's gotten pushback would be to undermine what's actually happened now. Both Michael Ruiz of Fox News Digital and Matt Finn of Fox News and my own sourcing has all said that's not the case.
Oh, this is the part that we saw earlier.
Tommaso, we haven't suggested that he's off the hook either. So I think keep an open mind.
Oh, wait.
They have not moved away from anyone. And until they have a perpetrator under arrest, assume everyone is still under scrutiny. So, you know, the NBC report may have led to some in the Guthrie family feeling a bit relieved this morning. I'm here to tell you they should not feel relieved. Everyone is still under scrutiny until someone is in handcuffs. And that includes members of the Guthrie family. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Yep.
And I trust my source absolutely. Okay. This is somebody with impeccable credentials and is in a position to know. And so I wouldn't be getting too relieved if I were anybody in the Guthrie family or elsewhere for that matter. We've never suggested it has to be this guy Tommaso. We haven't suggested that he's off the hook either. So I think keep an open mind.
I wanted to listen to that part again.
Want to keep going now on the reporting. Okay, that Range Rover that was stopped during the traffic stop the other night. I mean, it is of interest, like what led them to this Range Rover. It was stopped in a Culver's parking lot about 2 hours from Nancy Guthrie's home. And the person who was driving it was detained, was handcuffed, and there was plenty of video of the FBI interviewing this man. I think it was the FBI. It was a federal warrant, but the local law enforcement, I believe, was also in the field. He was later released. No arrests made, and the vehicle has been impounded and sealed. So they are still trying to extract DNA or other evidence from that vehicle, and who knows whether that one could eventually pan out. I'm drinking more coffee right now.
Yeah, we
or
heard
was
that part.
likely a local.
Got it.
Find this woman. I mean, think about that. That guy, he looked like a doofus, was shoveling the the vegetation on the doorbell camera. That guy has befuddled 400 law enforcement agents so far. Maybe he's not a doofus. What we think about him is, at a minimum, he appears to have been a local, because
I agree with that. He's not a doofus, not so much, and he's local. I think it's a local person, and I think that Nancy, like we've said before in previous lives, I think Nancy's closer than they think she is.
he
That's
came
just a
on board
hunch.
that porch,
Hunch.
seemed to know where to find the vegetation. Seems like it wasn't his first day on Nancy Guthrie's porch. I agree with law enforcement. This was likely targeted, and that he knew it was Nancy Guthrie, and he knew that she was Savannah's mother. That's my guess, based on all the reporting we've done. And you tell me how this guy was able to avoid any cameras. A lot of the cameras now, we've learned, did not work on the roads, on the main highways, but you can't tell me all of them did not work. It appears to me this guy took the local roads, and therefore was likely a local guy in
It was an alien.
knowing how to avoid cameras and so on as he escaped from this
sure of
property.
it.
So it does seem likely that he was a local. If Harvey Levin is right and police are really taking those alleged ransom notes seriously, then that would be more evidence he's a local, because those alleged ransom notes seemed possibly to come from a local resident. Why else would you send it to two local Tucson stations, in addition to TMZ? And also reported that Nancy was being held within 12 hours, a 12-hour drive of Tucson, according to TMZ. Again, so in any event, that's where we are. And on the subject of Sheriff Nanos and the latest reporting, this is what I wanted to tell you. He said that specialists in cloud-based video systems at Google are working feverishly to extract more information from the cameras. That's good to hear. Specialists in cloud-based video systems at Google are working feverishly to extract more information from the cameras.
Well, I thought that's what they did in an investigation, eh?
So it may be that the FBI doesn't have more images that it hasn't released to us. It may be they don't have more, but Google is searching for more, and that we may still get more. He goes on to say, quote, "I just hope they can scrape a camera shot down to the driveway to identify a vehicle, because my goodness, you can't put a mask on a vehicle, right?" So that's very interesting from the sheriff, that they do believe that Nest camera in the front, and who knows, maybe even in the back. He's been tight-lipped about what might have been around that back door. Maybe they caught additional images. And I've heard some speculate about why was that intruder so determined to cover up the Nest camera when he was covered head to toe?
Mm-hmm.
He's like staring right into the camera as he shoves the vegetation. Like, who that's worried about the camera looking at him who would care? Because he already has a ski mask on and he's done his best to camouflage his identity. Well, what if it was that he knew he'd likely be taking Nancy out the front door because his car was there, and he didn't want the pictures of Nancy being stolen to be on that Nest cam? Maybe that was his main motivation in covering up the Nest cam. We know that, we believe we know that she came out the front door because of the blood droplets. That's an interesting thought.
Not unless somebody placed him there, right?
That this guy, he understood she was coming out the front door. That's why he had to cover up that camera. And if the FBI has pictures of Nancy alive, if Google can uncover pictures of Nancy walking out of that front door of her own free will, I mean, obviously under duress and possibly under the threat of being shot. We know that the intruder had a gun, but that's still something to know that she was at least alive when she exited,
Yeah.
which remains a question, at least right now, without the videotape. So say a prayer for the geniuses at Google to find that needle in the haystack tape. You know, we don't know when he successfully got the Nest camera off of its cradle. We know he eventually did it because it's gone. And the sheriff says, we don't have it. So somebody took it. My own bet is he tried to get the front one off. He tried to camouflage the front. He probably then went around to the back and he was able to get in the back.
Wait, come again? They took the whole camera, but I thought they were able to get backup. Oh, through like the app or something?
Maybe that was his main motivation.
That's right.
In covering up the Nest cam. We know that, well, we believe we know that she came out the front door because of the blood droplets. That's an interesting thought that this guy, he understood she was coming out the front door. That's why he had to cover up that camera. And if the FBI has pictures of Nancy alive, if Google can uncover pictures of Nancy walking out of that front door of her own free will, I mean, obviously under duress and possibly under the threat of being shot. We know that the intruder had a gun, but that's still something to know that she was at least alive when she exited, which remains a question, at least right now, without the videotape. So say a prayer for the geniuses at Google to find that needle in the haystack tape. You know, we don't know when he successfully got the Nest camera off of its cradle. We know he eventually did it because it's gone. And the sheriff says, we don't have it. So somebody took it. My own bet is he tried to get the front one off. He tried to camouflage the front. He probably then went around to the back and he was able to get in the back door. And I believe that there was forced entry there based on Banfield's reporting. Now it's probably back there that he figured out it's actually pretty simple to get that Nest cam off of its cradle. And once he figured out that one, he probably took the front one down, probably before he came through it with Nancy, is my guess, which means it would have been up for a little bit longer. And there might have been additional photographs that could be quite helpful. Again, the sheriff says the specialists in cloud-based video systems at Google are, quote, working feverishly to extract more info. I bet they are, and you couldn't ask for a better team, honestly. And on the front of a better team, my report.
Something doesn't feel right. So if Google is involved, that means there's a way to get files deep into devices. We carry a device with Google downloaded. Our phones are recording all the time. Yep. It's them. It's them, agent. It's they want to put us on the island. The sheriff is hella sketchy. After every interview we saw, dude, I don't even want to hear it anymore. Yeah, hit that like button right now, please. Right now. We've been knowing that, Eric. Yup. I know a lot of people say that these are not professionals. I can't shake this feeling that this could go cold. What if they do have some kind of footage and they don't want to release it? And maybe they weren't able to get anything from it. I don't know, just a thought.
Reporting is that the FBI remains frustrated at the fact that they're not getting the first crack at the DNA analysis. And that leads me to the glove or gloves, plural, that were found 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. I believe these.
Pause. Banfield said that there was forced entry at the back door. Did law enforcement ever say anything about that? That's not on my timeline, unless, let me go back and check the timeline, but was there forced entry to the back? Oh yeah, I think they said the door was broken, or am I getting confused with Carlos? I'm gonna have to go back and do a little mini review.
These are the 2 gloves that the New York Post was present for the discovery of that look identical to the gloves used by the perpetrator. Well, the FBI did something extraordinary over the weekend, and it put out a statement. You know, we've talked about this in the Charlie Kirk investigation with Tyler Robinson and how frustrated people are that the FBI hasn't been saying more. And I said to the audience, the FBI they don't update you on cases. They let you sit and stew with nothing So it's very rare for them to put out statements on their investigation. I believe the reason they're making an exception here is because we have a missing person who might still be alive, and she's believed to be in bad health and could be in a dire situation.
And because they're getting media from the whole world, basically, this case has gone wild.
Right now. So they're doing everything they can to keep people interested in the case and keep them updated on where things are. And they put out a statement on 2 gloves. Okay, they've all now said that the Fox News report that there was a glove inside of Nancy Guthrie's house is wrong. We told you that on Friday. But it is true that they recovered many, many gloves in searching the area around Nancy's house. But the 2 that they're most interested in right now are the 2 that the New York Post was there on the ride along for, or at least following law enforcement. I'm not exactly sure how they were there when they found it.
I'm shocked that they found so many gloves, like the searchers and stuff. Like, we're littering the gloves. That's messed up, right?
The FBI has released a statement on the analysis of those 2 gloves, which is not being done by the FBI. It's being done by the Florida lab. And you remember from last week, there's been some consternation over that. Why aren't we using Quantico, which is the standard, the gold standard for lab analysis? Why are we using a Florida private lab that hopes and prays it will be certified as a reputable lab by the FBI lab at Quantico? Like, why wouldn't you go to the lab that is like the gold standard?
This is basically it. Wilson says, can we all agree that not all 16 gloves are involved? No, they're not. They have 1. And of the 1, apparently they're debating whether the DNA should go into CODIS or something. So you could be right. It could be a nothing burger.
No offense to the Florida lab. It's just nothing appears to be quite as talented and reliable as Quantico. And I certainly think the FBI feels that way. Here's the statement. The gloves found approximately 2 miles from the Guthrie residence in a field near the side of the road were packaged up by PCOS, that's Pima County, Office of the Sheriff, and sent overnight on 2/12, which was Thursday night. And they arrived at their private lab in Florida on 2/13, which was Friday. The FBI received preliminary results yesterday on 2/14. So they got the results on Saturday. This statement obviously came out on Sunday. And we are awaiting quality control and official confirmation today before putting unknown male profile into CODIS. That's their national database unique to the Bureau. So they say it's a man. Okay, that's something we didn't know. It was a man who was wearing those gloves, and those gloves do have DNA on them. And the analysis was performed by the Florida lab. And before the FBI uploads the results to CODIS, their national database that shows you all sorts of bad guys who are in there or suspected bad guys, you can take DNA now from people who are arrested. And of course, those who are convicted. They're awaiting quality control and official.
Yeah, so quality control refers to the strict procedures and standards that ensure the DNA profile is accurate, reliable, free from contamination, properly documented, legally admissible. Maybe they're worried that it's accurate. Maybe legally admissible. The codage is managed by the FBI. Labs must follow QSA before uploading any DNA profile.
Confirmation before they upload the results into CODIS. Then they write, the process typically takes 24 hours from when the Bureau receives them. And again, they said they got the preliminary results on Valentine's Day, Saturday, and it takes 24 hours from when they receive them to do this quality control. So ideally, at some point yesterday, they were able to do the quality control and upload it. They write, investigators collected approximately 16 gloves in various areas near the house. Most of them were searchers' gloves that they discarded in various areas when they searched the vicinity. The one with the DNA profile recovered is different and appears to match the gloves of the subject in the surveillance video. The wording of this is not perfect. The one.
So if it matches the subject in the surveillance video, they have the subject's DNA. So if you have someone's DNA and they're on the surveillance video at Nancy's house the night she went missing and she's been missing equals arrest? Question mark, question mark. Right? Am I understanding that wrong? Like they're saying it matches the DNA to the suspect in the video. But they're like, we don't have the DNA yet. We don't know. That's their angle, but there's no proof. Remember that man said there's a huge turnover at the sheriff place. Equals they don't know what to do, Melly. These kidnappers said, let's throw these gloves off to the side. You know what's happening is that these perpetrators, aka kidnappers, etc., they're just sitting here watching everybody. all the media, step by step, they're like one step ahead because they're like, they know exactly where everyone's at, who's doing what. There's video of AI seeing everything we do through connected devices. So when the next person goes missing and their family member is not a celebrity, I'm assuming that Google is going to do the same thing for them, right? We need to call Google. That's a good question, Chastity. Sorry if I've been saying that wrong, dumbass. They could be in the chat right now. Give us a clue. 1-800 Google, sir. We have a question for you, actually. You should do that. She said the glove matched the style of the glove. So
with the DNA profile recovered. Now, we don't know if what they mean is the one pair recovered 2 miles from her home in a field is different from all these 16 others or 15 others, in that it appears to match the gloves of the subject, or if they mean one of the 2 gloves that we recovered in the field has DNA. Either way, it's kind of the same thing. They're saying that pair of gloves discovered in the field is much more interesting to us. They do appear to match in type, in look, in brand, perhaps.
Oh, okay. So the DNA, not the actual DNA, just the. Many people could have that type of glove. Like, you know what I mean? Many people could use those latex gloves. Hey, Lise, good to see you. Yeah, they probably like the cops. Watch them waste time. Hey, I've Troopin. Good to see you, love. Happy Monday. Good to see you. Shout out for being here. Shout out to you for being here. Telling you everything is going to be supercomputer beyond AI. Yeah, I know. It's scary. I'm MSM. No trolls, please. Because I'm in a mood.
Ones that the actual perpetrator was wearing.
No.
And they're saying most of these other gloves are just discarded by searchers. And then they finish by saying the FBI has and will continue to provide assistance on whatever timeline is provided to us. Again, they're not running herd on this, and they're not getting the first crack at the DNA analysis, or possibly any crack at the DNA analysis. They're just waiting for the quality control on the DNA analysis, and then they're going to upload it into CODIS, which is the database of offenders, to see if it's a match. And then presumably they will also cross-reference to the DNA. This is the other most promising lead that was found in the Guthrie home. And the sheriff has told us now that they are looking, they have found DNA inside Nancy's house that does not match anyone, that does not match Nancy and does not match, quote.
Hey, La Karma love, good to see you. Happy Monday. It's nice to see you here in chat. Why would searchers just throw the gloves on the ground? Design. I don't think they know what the 1+1 rule is. Do you guys know what the 1+1 rule is? I learned it in like 1st grade. So you throw away your trash and then you pick up one on the floor, 2 pieces of trash into the trash can bin, not on the planet, not on the ground, so that our earth can be healthier. Why hasn't FBI put on their own sketch of the suspect? LOL. They had a sketch, right? Or someone did a sketch. I haven't showed that. The sketch out there. Oh, it was created by a civilian ATS. ATS has been covering this too, if you guys check her out. Wow, a civilian. That was pretty good. I'm impressed. How is there no car description? No car description. We don't know who called in Nancy missing. We don't know what happened to the garage door camera. We don't know if they came from the side, from the front of the house. We don't know. We don't know why Carlos was arrested. Allegedly something to do with something. No 911 call because they're litter bugs. Yes, Elijah, and we are not litter bugs. Hey, Native Libra. I feel like Pima County needs to clean house.
Those in close contact to Nancy. All right, so they've collected that inside of Nancy's house.
He said he didn't do it.
That is now being analyzed. So they're trying to get a name on that stuff. It will presumably be uploaded to CODIS, as will the DNA from these gloves. And whoa, we're in business if we have a match from somebody who was inside the Guthrie house and had those gloves on. Boom, Bob's your uncle. That's what they're looking for, among other things.
Okay, I kind of love her here. Did she say Bobby's your uncle? That's funny.
That would be
Now,
great.
don't get me wrong, because I know people in the comments will be like, oh my God. I'm not laughing at the Nancy Guthrie case. I'm just saying it's a bunch of fuckery going on.
If they could find
That's
that.
it.
Now, what will they do if there's not a direct hit in CODIS? Well, they may do one of a couple things. They may get a hit, first of all, from some distant relative of somebody who is in CODIS. That's possible. And that is how they caught Brian Kohlberger.
Yes, remember the video yesterday with Brian Enton? They were doing the 23. Remember that really great DNA expert? I'll call her.
He wasn't in CODIS,
That was
and
a
nobody
really
he
good
knew
one.
was in CODIS. But his a relative was in the private DNA data banks that are out there. Like, I think it was ancestry.com. And normally they are not allowed, the feds, to look in those, to do DNA matching against those. Normally, they're supposed to stick to CODIS. There is a button you can check when you upload your DNA into 23andMe. Well, they're gone now, but Ancestry.com or a company like that saying, I'm fine if you put me in the law enforcement database. Like, if one of my relatives turns out to be a criminal, I don't mind if you catch them off of my DNA. That's, I think, what I would do. But in any event, I'm not in there. And I don't know, it's an interesting question. Like, they're asking all the gardeners and so on to give DNA. And I think if I were like in this situation where I just happen to be in the home of somebody who's obviously a victim of a crime, and they said, can I please have your DNA? I think I'd give it. But I'm not sure. I'm not so big on like just giving my DNA over. I don't, how do you feel?
Nope, not doing it unless I am getting arrested. Which I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. But no, I haven't even done 23andMe. I want to though. Have you guys done that? I don't know. I feel like there's some weird Epstein shit going on with those companies. Allegedly, my opinion only. Don't listen to me. I'm just crazy girl. I want to go show you guys the sketch that ATS was mentioning about the civilian. How big of area was the house and the surrounding? It was big. I think it was worth like $700,000, the house. That's actually a good question. Let's see if we can find it on how big was it? Pause. Okay, it's 3,776 square foot residence, 5 bedrooms. I'm sorry. Why does an 84-year-old little cute little lady who can barely even walk too far, and I mean that because that's a very long life and she has health conditions, remember. Why is she living in a house with 5 bedrooms? That's absolutely crazy. I should have just moved in with Nancy. 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bath. Oh, I lied. It's approximately worth $1.1 million. So I was wrong about the 700,000. I think that might have been when I looked it up prior to whatever.
Like, if they were just like canvassing house after house saying, can I have your DNA? I think I'd say no. So you can't assume the worst when somebody says, I'm not giving my DNA. Or when they say, I'm not uploading my DNA, even though I'm doing Ancestry.com, to be available more widely to feds investigating a crime. However, we learned in Kohlberger, this became a big controversy.
You know, Nancy, you're right, Alicia. Nancy has been there for a really long time. So it's her home. You're right. And if she's been there for a really long time, she probably doesn't want to leave it. But I just feel like that's so much space for her. I hope she at least had like a caregiver at some point. That's a lot to be alone to by yourself. I guess maybe. I guess her wanting to keep her family home. Just nobody hopefully coming into our homes with, yeah, I know. Wow, must have been a good amount of acres if it sits on it. I just feel like, I don't know, there could be a killer hiding in the rooms, you know? Just nobody, yeah, exactly. If the skin cell DNA was really so easy to transfer, we all would have other peeps' DNA all over our home. You're right.
Remember, the defense made a big deal out of this, that apparently it's just policy. It's just a policy. It's not a law with these private databases that they don't share with the FBI. But like in an emergency, they might, or the FBI might just do it because there's not a law stopping them. And our understanding to this day is that that is what they did. That they got a hit on a relative of Kohlberger, or they didn't get a hit, and then they used the other database and they got a hit that basically brought them to Brian Kohlberger's dad. And then what they did once they got the dad is they do genetic genealogy, and they bring in somebody like 𝗶𝗶 goddess of this technology, where let's say they find a relative who is like 16 family members removed from the perp, and they can see it's got like a very, very distant relation to the perpetrator of the crime. Then you bring in a 𝗶𝗶 Moore who starts to do a family tree. Like, you know how some people do their family trees? And it's like, this is the mom, this is the dad, this is the child, this is the offspring, this is where they're from, this is who they married, here are the death announcements. Okay, here he's ruled out, he died, and so on, until you get to who lives in the Idaho area around the date this crime happened, or now in the Nancy case, who lives in the Tucson area around the date of January 31st, February
The house, she bought it in 1985 when her husband was still alive, I believe.
1st, and that's how you start zeroing in on a suspect. 𝗶𝗶 Moore's been on our show. We've talked to her multiple times. She's a genius. And she actually made a comment about this limitation on databases and like what technically they're allowed to access. And here's what she said about what she'd be doing if she were Savannah Guthrie. She spoke to Brian Entin the other day, SOT3.
Despite the fact that over 50 million people have taken direct consumer DNA tests, for law enforcement cases, we are limited to the 2 or 3 smallest databases, which is less than 2 million people. And I'm hearing a lot of misconceptions out there. People are saying they can use Ancestry, they can use 23andMe. That is not true. Ancestry, 23andMe, and MyHeritage, the 3 largest consumer DNA databases, have barred law enforcement's use. And there are 2 well-known databases, GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA, that have agreed to work with law enforcement. And then there's a new nonprofit called DNA Justice that's much smaller, but it can also be used. And so those are the ones that they will have to work in, unless they can serve a successful warrant on the larger databases. Now, if I was Savannah Guthrie and her family, I would be begging management at Ancestry, 23andMe, and MyHeritage to allow the genetic genealogy profile to be compared in there, because it would be a much more straightforward and quicker identification that way. But so far, they've been very, very resistant to that, even though studies have shown that 91% of the public is in favor of using genetic genealogy to identify this type of criminal.
Okay, so that's
I
back
could listen to that lady all day long.
to what we were telling you, which is
Respectfully.
they're supposed to use like the public databases, but happen to know that, you know, if the case is extreme enough, they will move heaven and earth to get into the more commercial databases that have way more information in them. And she's saying if she were Savannah, she'd be demanding or begging the private databases to cooperate and pushing the feds to get a warrant such that they can access those databases. So hopefully they're doing that on all of this DNA. Now, 𝗍𝗍 actually went on to describe how if the perpetrator here is Hispanic, and he may be, we're not able to really tell with that ski mask on, but you certainly can't rule it out. You can see that.
Why Hispanic right off the bat?
That it's not an African-American man. You can see that, I think you can see that it's not an Asian man, but it looks to me to either be a white man or a Hispanic man. Even some people have disputed it's a man because he does look like he's wearing eyeliner, but that could just
Chill out. You're not a professional in race. We can't see the skin color, can we? Did someone catch that in the surveillance video where it's black and white? Am I suddenly blind and can't see shit? Man, I can listen to you all day. Thank you, Ramon. You can actually find out what somebody looks like with the DNA. Besides, her pills are missing. She could have jetted up to Cabo or something. I have heard that theory before. I have heard that maybe she didn't want to be around her family. I think at this point, anything is possible, right? We really don't know anything for sure. They're a black. I'm just really annoyed with that comment. Who knows if he's got a mask on underneath the ski mask? Maybe they used self-tanner. I don't know. I live alone in my bedroom house and I'm scared. Yeah, Chastity. Chastity's like 5 bedrooms. There could be Michael Myers all up in there. Who cares, right? Yeah, who cares? Find Nancy. Not. I guess if you're talking about DNA, then race would matter, but
be a function of the bizarre Ring camera shot. In any event, here's what she had to say if the perpetrator is Hispanic.
3 bedroom.
Could they use it in a case like this?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've been waiting for that to happen, just hoping that there would be DNA found that was not tied to any of the known individuals from the home, because that will solve the case if nothing else does. It's just a matter of time then. What is going to determine how long that takes is what population group that person is from. So if their ancestry is from Latin America and they have recent immigrant ancestors, it'll be much more difficult to identify that individual. So it could take a lot longer. We have a lot of those Hispanic cases, and they tend to take weeks, months, or years compared to somebody who has deep roots in the United States and primarily Northwest European ancestry.
That makes sense, I guess.
So that's unfortunate because there's a very high likelihood this person is Hispanic, just given the region of the country that it's in. A very high percentage of Hispanics in Tucson, given its proximity to the southern border. And the guy on the porch does look like he might be Hispanic. So, it's unfortunate. It'll be harder, but it's not impossible. And I'm sure 𝗍𝗍 will be brought in, or somebody just like her, if they manage to get it. I mean, she's a national treasure. I thank God all the time that 𝗍𝗍 is a young woman. She's not 90 and hopefully will be around for decades more to help fight crime.
It's actually kind of hilarious. Let's look this up. Tucson, Arizona has a diverse population. It's an equal split between white, non-Hispanic, and Hispanic or Latino residents. The city's racial makeup is roughly 43 to 44% white, 42 to 45. 43 to 44% white. Hispanic is 42 through 45, 5% African American, 3% of Asian descent, and 1 to 3% American Indians, Alaskan Native. So it looks like Hispanics are 42.2, 43.8 is white, 44.8. So like literally just a little higher.
So 𝗍𝗍, who's married to Annie Guthrie, Savannah's sister.
Yeah.
Nanos
Yeah.
in
ATS. I can't tell either. I can't tell who is in that mask. I know. At this point, who cares? Find Nancy, right? Skin cells shouldn't be used for criminal cases or transferred too easily. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, my husband is Hispanic and we both thought he was Hispanic. Well, I did think he was Hispanic when I saw them like going after Carlos, justice for Carlos. But now I'm like, I don't know, man. We cover true crime. We see everybody commit all kinds of cases, crimes, all races. Crime does not discriminate. I guess he had Hispanic eyes. Sounds like speculation. Yeah, that sounds like it's like the eyebrow thing with Brian Kober. How are you gonna go after someone because their eyes look similar? Large pops of white. Yeah.
Interview with the Daily Mail said the following: nobody has been cleared, including the workers at Guthrie's home, the people who were recently the subject of the 2 separate SWAT raids, and presumably family members, writes the Daily Mail. Now, this is a quote. I stay in touch with them, mostly Savannah. I've not been in touch with 𝗠𝗲𝗹𝗹𝗆 or Annie too much. I have talked to them a little bit, but I know the investigators are in touch with them. But I've really told people this is a lot of stress. If he, Tommaso Cioni, is guilty, if he's the one who did it, and we're able to prove that, then at that time, jump on it. But don't come out of nowhere with this, he writes. I understand the pundits are out there. They're going to say, well, he's the last one to see her alive. We understand that stuff. But my goodness, you're putting a mark on somebody who could be completely innocent. And more important than that, he's family. It's also why, writes the Daily Mail, Nano said he will not specify who was with Nancy when she was driven home from Cioni and Annie Guthrie's home after going to their house, which is about 10 minutes away, for dinner and a game night. Listen to this. Quote, we know who it is, meaning who drove Nancy home. Hello, we do too, because you told us. You told the New York Times that it.
That's really funny, Megan. I like you. That's funny because, yeah, law enforcement told us it was Tommaso, right?
Was Tommaso. But now here he is saying, quote, we know who it is.
I love funny.
But when we saw everybody was attacking everybody and saying it's this, we just thought, you know what? We'll say it was family. Well, that could have worked perfectly, Sheriff, if only you hadn't gone on the record with the New York Times the day before and said it was Tommaso. This is like
Nanos.
I'm sorry, but this is where you get a little Keystone-y. Nano said the entire Guthrie family has been, quote, nothing but cooperative, end quote, at every turn, despite what for them is a nightmare without end. Quote, everything we've asked for, they've given us. They're in such a state of grief, but they're also, you know, I think they're a little weary too of what's been going on and being said about them, end quote. Nanos will also not reveal if there were any signs of forced entry, nor give details as to whether Nancy was taken out the back or front door to what presumably was a waiting vehicle. I mean, this is unbelievable. Like, how do you expect to get away with that, Sheriff? You went on the record with the New York Times and said it was Tommaso, and now you want us to just forget that and just, quote, go with family? And then you tell the Daily Mail that this is exactly why you changed it to family, which we only suspected before. We didn't know for sure whether you were just confused about it. But now we know for sure you have no confusion and you changed it because you felt bad for Tommaso. Okay. We all feel bad for Tommaso if he's innocent in all of this. But until you guys tell us he's ruled out, he's on the table.
If it's not Tommaso, at the end, I'll be all you guys. I don't know. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. I don't know how long we're going to make it. It might be 2080 by the time we figure this out. If Tommaso's not the person, Ashley Banfield has some apologies to make. We assumed here for, I think, like the first day one that maybe it could have been the family, but you know, all praise Google. Yeah, exactly. Google who's involved in Epstein.
And that's what we're being told by other law enforcement as well. I mean, this is how an investigation goes. And he was the last person seen with her. And obviously you always look at family when you're trying to rule out what may have happened, especially in this case to an 84-year-old woman who was kidnapped and possibly killed. And it's not, as we've been saying, like a baby where there's a market for this type of person if they, you know, wind up the victim of a kidnapper. Okay. Law enforcement also saying, heard the number now, that they've received 40,000 tips. 40,000. I mean, that's huge. And Sheriff Nano is saying publicly now that there will be a lot of police activity every day in this case. There was a report over the weekend that the Pima County Sheriff's Department was using helicopters with the so-called signal sniffers underneath the tracks to possibly ferret out any pacemaker signals
Can we call them something else? Not the signal sniffers.
coming from down below.
I don't know if I love that word.
Now, I don't know what their capability is. We know that the
I think
actual
it's a neighbor.
pacemaker in Nancy Guthrie will not connect with its iPhone if it's more, we've heard, between 10 and 30 feet away from her. Maybe these signal sniffers have higher sensitivity and can connect farther from that, because I can't get within 30 feet in a helicopter from somebody's house. I think that would be scaring a lot of residents. So it's got to be more sensitive than that, but great technology if they can use it. I mean, I only wish that it had been used every day since the day she went missing, ubiquitously, because it seems a little late to be trying that. We are told that the pacemaker signal will go on even post-mortem. It will continue to transmit. So in other words, if you got Nancy's iPhone within 30 feet of her right now, no matter where she is, dead or alive, her pacemaker would still be signaling. So hopefully that'll provide some help. I mean, who knows?
Hey, Chantelli. Yeah, we've seen that. We've been talking about how the family was cleared, but Megan believes no one's really cleared until we have more information, which I kind of agree with that, really.
Yeah, and the two best leads right now are the DNA that was inside the home that's being analyzed, says the sheriff, and the pictures from the guy on the porch, and still waiting for somebody to call in and say who that is.
Good question. Were they cleared by the feds? You're right, because they're two different organizations, right? Hey, Ryan. They could pick up that pacemaker from satellites if they wanted to. Oh, so they're just fooling us. So the family's cleared based on the glove they found or DNA from home? Yes. It's a little confusing. Yeah, the one where they said the family is a victim. Yeah.
Going through these 40,000 tips, sometimes as many as 5,000 tips a day, which is a lot. Okay, last but not least, Savannah. She issued an Instagram post on Sunday. It was the most recent communication. And this one seemed as close as we've had to the real Savannah, as opposed to very, very carefully curated messaging. But I think, let's be honest, this one was carefully curated too. There's no way, given the stakes here, she would just be winging it. I wouldn't either. Be doing exactly what the FBI told me to do. But anyway, you tell me. Here she is with her message on Sunday.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. We believe. And we believe in the essential goodness.
I wonder if they somehow know and they haven't said anything about maybe it's targeted to Savannah and Nancy, because what's going on with the United Front thing? We haven't seen a live for the last 2-3 clips. Where's Annie and can't remember the brother's name.
Of every human being. And it's never too late.
I feel for her. I feel for her family. You can see the tears in her eyes. You can see just the wear and tear on her emotionally. You can see her sad eyes. And I mean, look, there's no love lost between yours truly and NBC, as you know, but when you picture Savannah Guthrie, you picture her smiling. It's the Today Show thing. That's by design. But this has just been such a dramatic turn just into the Savannah that we all know from television. You know, there's not an iota in there of joy or happiness. Not right now. How could there be when you don't know what's happened to your mom, when you're getting to the point where many are starting to presume she's dead, she's been murdered or allowed to die in captivity. But it definitely seems like she's speaking to the abductor, trying to say, like, almost like I forgive you. She didn't say that, but like, I believe there's goodness in you. Please consider giving her back to me, like begging. It's basically she's asking for mercy, and saying kind of, I don't think you're evil. Please give me my mom back. Please, you could still do the right thing. Like, I still believe in human goodness. And this could be potentially very effective if indeed her mother's in the custody of a Savannah Guthrie stalker, which she could be. That is still very much a possible
Oh
lane.
boy.
You've got the family member.
I mean, it kind of goes with what I just said, right? Like I just said, could it have been a personal thing for Savannah? As much as they wanted to kidnap Nancy, could she have been the target? And maybe that's why she's the only one in the videos and they just haven't released that information. I mean, I don't know, just theorizing. Nothing's official. But what does that mom wait, what does the mom say in Silence of the Lambs? Yeah, that's what they say. Green-eyed. I'll pull it up. Mexico theory is far-fetched. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They would have been worried crossing the border, no? To get caught? She has to try and sell at it. I'm not buying it. Am I crazy or should her husband be with her on these videos? Seems so lonely and sad. If the glove, oh no. If the glove doesn't fit, they must quit. Pizza, not OJ. Megan girl has a bad poker face.
Lane? Is it Tommaso? Is it somebody else in the family? You've got the stalker lane. Is it somebody who is obsessed with Savannah? You've got the burglary or general like Tucson thief lane. Somebody there who was like looking to steal or do something else and wound up, just getting over his skis and panicked and took Nancy Guthrie. You've got the disgruntled landscaper. She didn't tip. They had a spat lane, like revenge, but not against Savannah, against Nancy. But if we're in lane number 2, the Savannah stalker lane, that's a very effective message. That's like her, direct to cam, without the brother and sister, little makeup on, saying, I believe you might be a good person. And maybe you just got confused and got a little panicked. And it's not too late for you.
And stole a 84-year-old woman from her house.
It's not too late for you to do what's right. I still have hope. I still have belief, an emotional connection, if you will, where she says it. Well, I'm just pulling up. It's been 2 weeks and our mom was taken. Still have hope, still believe. Whoever has her or knows where she is. So appealing not only to the abductor, but to those who, because you know as well as I do, it's not just the abductor who knows where Nancy Guthrie is. Absolutely not. And then even going so far to say, you're not lost or alone. You're not lost or alone.
Yeah.
Like a psychological appeal. If you're feeling, because of course, who would do this, right? Who would do such a thing? Indeed, somebody who would have to be feeling lost, alone.
Well, there's a lot of kidnappers.
Possibly, or just diabolical. But she's going the nicer route, trying to appeal to their...
Interesting. That was an interesting little clip. Brian Enton just released a video. I want to watch that after I show you guys the sketch. Somebody did the sketch off of the surveillance video. This is what we were talking about earlier with ATS. Not that it is accurate, but this is what somebody got from The Mask. Why haven't they done a sketch like this? Maybe because it would look similar to this, with the mask on. I think it's a good sketch, but I don't know that that matches. If they fly into Mexico private jet, Good point. Yeah, maybe. Let me see. I know Chantel said that there was a update, but I think it was the one that I already checked, right? Let me just make sure. Yeah, it was. It was the family is a victim too. Let's watch Brian Enton because he's boots on the ground and he just dropped literally one while we a video while we've been live. So let's see what he has to say about everything. I really like Brian Enton.
And their spouses. I've got my FBI panel, my expert friends joining me to discuss that.
Yeah, I believe they did have a sketch of Brian Koberger, but correct me if I'm wrong. Private plane left at 4:38. I did see that, Abuelita, that they were saying that there was a plane that left 4:38 a.m. I assume they've already vetted this out. Mexico is just a distraction. But see, a stalker seems off given taken to moms to Mexico. They don't add up. Abuelita, they fly and by boat if the load is worth it. One hand very weird, and the other hand makes perfect sense given the timing and everything as a whole. Epstein connections to all, and the Olympics too. Because remember that weekend, somebody mentioned it earlier. It was Design Rhythm. Yeah, she was supposed to leave for the Olympics. So a very weird time. Coincidence? Nah. That sketch is wacky nonsense. That's why FBI is not using it. Yeah. I wonder if they could have had someone do one too. Nothing adds up. It's all mind trickery, throwing everybody off.
Also, new information on the DNA and what is taking so long when it comes to the DNA testing and getting that information in the CODIS database, which I'll explain why that's so important. And the possibility of more than one suspect actually at Nancy Guthrie's house when she may have been taken. All of this is coming up in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, so a couple of big developments. The first, which I was just talking about, but I have confirmed that the FBI has been to several gun shops in Tucson, and they've shown up, the agents have shown up with a list of 40 names and also 40 pictures, 40 photographs, and they are showing the names and the photographs to the gun shop employees to see one, if any.
I did see that Savannah was like thinking about leaving her job indefinitely. Is that proven fact now, Abuelita? Because I figured she would. Maybe somebody wanted her off hosting the Olympics for NBC. Yeah.
Of those people have been inside the gun shop, and two, if any of them have purchased a weapon, which is significant because that means perhaps that there's 40 people that they're interested in, that they're narrowing this window down. It's also possible that some of those people they're interested in, and like sometimes when they do lineups, and I don't know if this is that kind of a situation, but they'll throw other pictures in that are just irrelevant. But what I do know, again, is that they've gone to several gun shops with a list of 40 names and 40 photos trying to figure out if those people have been inside the gun shop. So these aren't just like pictures where they're saying, do you know who this person is? They have the names. They just want to know if they've been in the gun shops in Tucson. So that's new, and that's pretty interesting. The other thing that's new today is that the sheriff has cleared the Guthrie family as being suspects in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. You know, the siblings and their spouses. And let me read you the sheriff's statement because it was a pretty intense statement. And this is pretty rare to see during an active investigation, a statement like this where people are outright cleared. And he hasn't done this in the past. I mean, he sort of alluded to it, but remember he said in the past, like, we're not, everybody could be a person of interest, but this is what he's saying now. He said, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. And then he goes on to say, to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So it's kind of an emotional statement that he's giving, and he's clearly fed up with people calling out the Guthrie family. And it's been an issue just in general with this case and other cases I've seen. I mean, people start putting photos on social media claiming that people are suspects, and it can really do a lot of damage to their, obviously their reputation. And it's just, you know, irresponsible. So but the big news is flat out now we know that the Guthrie family has been cleared. The other new piece of reporting here has to do with, you guys know that this glove that was found 2 miles from here at Nancy Guthrie's house is being tested. The FBI says it matches the glove that was on the suspect in the surveillance videos we've seen.
Sue makes a good point. I think someone maybe at NBC has a grudge against Savannah and took it out on her mom, just a hunch. Looking at you, Banfield, whatever they did, paid off the cops. Not unusual. Not unusual.
We know that it's being tested and it's going to be put into the CODIS database, which is this FBI database of DNA, mostly criminals, where they can go and they can cross-reference and try to figure out who the DNA belongs to. But we're learning about now delays, and it's whenever you're watching this, I'm not sure, but right now it's Monday night. We've learned that it's still not in the CODIS database. And my colleague, Libby Dean, a correspondent who works in Washington, D.C., has some sources saying there are unnecessary delays in getting DNA into the FBI database. Let me read you what she's reporting. She says, the decision to send the glove with DNA to a private lab in Florida is causing what one source familiar with the case calls unnecessary delays in getting the DNA entered into the FBI's CODIS database. That's because the FBI does not accept DNA submissions directly from private labs. Instead, once testing is complete in Florida, it's likely the DNA data extracted must first be sent back to the state of Arizona, where it can be uploaded and becomes shareable with the FBI for entry into CODIS. That extra step adds time, creating what the source describes as a catch-up process when the FBI could have processed and entered the data within a day, according to the source. So basically, the FBI is saying again that because the Pima County Sheriff's Office did not send this DNA directly to Quantico, to the FBI facility, and instead sent it to their private lab in Florida, that it's slowing things down. Of course, the Pima County Sheriff has come back on some of that criticism in the past and said, look, we actually talked to the FBI before we went with our Florida lab, and we were all in agreement. So it's still kind of tricky there. You got two different people telling two different stories there, but it sounds like, according to Libby's source, there's a delay now in getting this DNA into the CODIS database.
Yeah, Crystal, and you're funny. A delay in the Nancy investigation. No way, we can't believe it. Day 16, y'all. Day 16. Allegedly, Melanie says, this makes me so angry. The sheriff said that like 2 days ago, no one was cleared, including the family. He did that. I know, going back and forth. Someone, maybe a fellow anchor, may have had something against Savannah because Savannah was supposed to be anchor at the Olympics. Jealousy is a disease. So is it you reported something or trying to hide JE files? Savannah has been on the Today Show forever. Exactly. This is all a distraction for the EF
because it went to the private lab in Arizona, which is interesting. I'm joined now by Maureen O'Connell.
Yeah, if you guys are into the Epstein files, I have been covering them, and I have been trying to be censored by YouTube. So definitely tap in to those lives if you are interested in the Epstein files.
Retired FBI agent and friend of the show. It's nice to see you again, as always, Maureen. And Morgan Lane, who is worked in forensics for a long time, is new to the show, is friends with Maureen. And just, if you don't mind, Morgan, just tell my viewers a little bit about your background before we start.
Sure, of course. Yes. So I've been working in the field of forensics for approximately 22 years. Primarily, all of my investigations have been major crime scene investigations to include homicides, attempt homicides, sexual assaults, all the way down to burglaries. My career was in LA County, and I was finished my career as a forensic supervisor at Hawthorne PD.
Great. Well,
just
it's nice
a
to
few
meet
days ago. She just finished a few days ago.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you on. Thank you so much, Morgan. I want to start out reading you this, Maureen, though, because this just happened. This is a new statement from the Pima County Sheriff. And what he says is, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I am begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So I wanted to see what you think, Maureen, because he's sort of alluded to that in the past, but then he's also said things like, well, everybody's still a person of interest. But now he's being very clear in black and white that they are cleared as possible suspects and that includes siblings and spouses. What do you make of it, Maureen?
That's the most definitive thing he's ever said throughout this entire investigation. So I'm glad to hear it. If that's what the whole investigative team is saying, then that's what we got to go with.
Do you think that means that they may be closing in on someone? That's what I thought. Like, does this mean that if they're clearing all of them, does that mean they may be getting closer to finding who did it?
Yes, I think that's exactly what this might mean. And, we're expecting.
Didn't they say that last week when Carlos was arrested, or maybe they did a SWAT raid at that house? Did you see TMZ got another email? Yeah, we did. We covered that at the beginning. Nancy's out of the country and they want cash to give for the info. I know, it's wild. Okay, but how do you clear them as suspects when you have no other suspect you're looking at? Things circle back around to the son-in-law. No, not today. No Epstein today, tomorrow. That's a good, yeah. I don't know. Something just feels way off.
DNA results
the whole case feels
as
way
early
off.
as today. So they may have, they may be planning something big within the next day. Maybe tomorrow.
You've sort of got the sense, Maureen, that something has been building, that we may be getting closer, maybe even this week.
Yeah, I've felt this inertia building for the last week or so. And it also comes from the experience of being in big investigations where you've got subpoenas out, you've got the DNA information out. They're telling us it's going to come back. We executed search warrants. The search warrant information caused us to subpoena more people. You've got some people probably under surveillance, other people with the whole phone situation and all the advanced technological stuff that's happening. It's all just coming together. When you add into that the tips and leads, and then how they doubled when they doubled the reward, we've got a lot of information pouring in, getting merged and purged every which way. And I just hope that it's go time.
I want to ask you, Morgan, because there's been a big focus on the DNA.
Let's hope it's go time tomorrow.
The last couple of days, because we know they found DNA in Nancy's house, and then they also found DNA on this glove 2 miles away from Nancy's house that apparently the FBI says looks like the glove that the suspect was wearing. How did they go about? I'll start with the glove. How would you go about processing a glove like that?
So when we get evidence like that, we're looking for the biological evidence, more like trace DNA. So skin cells, sweat, things like that are left behind inside of the glove. So we bring it back, we process it, swab it, and then send it to a lab, whichever lab of your choice. Obviously, the sheriff in this case had a lab in Florida. So we're going for those touch DNA, that skin cell. I mean, it's a little bit difficult only because you have that glove 2 miles away from the scene. But obviously, if it comes back with a profile, it's investigative lead, and they can hunt it down.
The fact that it wasn't found, it was found almost 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Is that an issue? I mean,
that's the part that literally kills me. 2 weeks later, the glove was found, and there's been tons of people covering that area, the home, the neighborhoods.
I don't think it had rained at that point, but it's still, outside here in Arizona.
I mean, it can have effects on it, but I mean, the bigger issue is going to be down the road in court. But either way, the goal obviously is to get Nancy back. So if they're going to swab that, get some DNA from it, and then run that lead down, then that's the ultimate goal. How it holds up in court might be a little bit trickier later because you're talking, like you said, 2 weeks down the road, 2 miles away from the house. I mean, it's a good defense if someone wants to ask later, could that glove have been, thrown out when he was on a walk or when he was driving down the street or however it got there.
Yeah, you talk about defenses. I was thinking that too, just that they acknowledge that there's been so many gloves that have found and that searchers have dropped gloves. I mean, that seems like a defense attorney would just key in on that statement that they put out. With Nancy's house, though, they've said that
Brian, can I weigh in on the gloves?
Yeah, go. Yeah, always, Maureen. Just feel free to jump in.
When we're talking about the gloves that they found, those 17 other ones, you have to understand a couple of things. Number one, they had a bunch of searchers out there. I think they said at the beginning that they were volunteers. And, they have this whole contingent of people, sworn and unsworn, and volunteers that come out to do all their search and rescue stuff. So they have a different sense of evidence and throwing things away than maybe a sworn person might, or a person that works on a forensics team.
Can I call bullshit? Because, dude, don't leave gloves. Don't throw gloves on the floor. I think we can all determine that that's supposed to go in the trash, in the basura. Can I just say, how did they clear the family if the DNA has to come back? Chantel, I said that earlier. I'm like, okay, so they know something, or maybe they have something. I don't know. sunbeaming on it, just blowing the wind. Yeah, dog peed on it. Like it's been 2 weeks out there. Yeah, exactly. Reporters, true crime sleuths, YouTubers, FBI, undercover, fake landscapers, fake pool cleaners, kids riding their bike. Like there's been so much going on out there.
Like Morgan does. But also we've had instances where we put them all in a bag and then the bag blows away and then we have gloves all over the place. And, you know, I just think it was, Morgan, do you have any experience with that?
Yes. I mean, generally speaking, at crime scenes, we create trash bags that's specifically for our discarded wear, whether it's like biosuits or gloves, you know, water ampules that we're using. We try to keep all of our trash in one location, but you're right, things happen. Potentially a windy day. I mean, it's Arizona, the elements are obviously part of it. I would say though, with that glove, if you're going back to Nancy, if they're going to say whether or not it came from the suspect, like if that's going to be defense down the road. I mean, if Nancy's DNA is on it, now it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
Because if he's grabbing her and then he discards the glove, you should have both suspect and victim on it, which now is a little more difficult to prove. You know, why is that glove deposited out there with both victim and suspect DNA on it?
And then one other thing, one final thought on that is, I have never, ever in 25 years working crime, have I ever worn black nitrile gloves. I mean,
maybe someone put him there. Question mark, question mark.
I've worn blue ones, white ones, but we don't wear black ones because I always felt it was important to wear lighter color ones so that if I got anything on it, I could immediately take them off and discard them in our trash, you know?
Yeah, and I will say there was one day I saw the FBI searching and there was one female FBI agent that had a big wad of black gloves sticking out of her back pocket. And I'm assuming she had them in case she saw something and needed to put the gloves on. But it's funny, I noticed it because I was like, they look like they were going to fall out. And even we bought those black gloves because we wanted to show, I don't know if I showed you, Maureen, that one day, but we bought them because we wanted to show them in our stories, like, hey, gloves like this. And we were so careful. I was like, we better not drop any of these gloves. You know what I mean? Like
you're in enough trouble already, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it'll be just my luck. There'll be my DNA on the, you know, on the gloves. But anyway, I was surprised to see her with those gloves hanging out the back pocket like that, especially because the guy was wearing black. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that is true. Like, what are the odds, right? Black nitrile gloves are more expensive too. And what is a coincidence that the subject would be wearing those black nitrile gloves and every pair, the 16 of them, were also black nitrile gloves? Did they all have them? Did they share a box? These quote unquote searchers who litters in public with the news media ever. They still do like littering fines and stuff, right?
Yeah.
What were you going to say though, Morgan? Sorry.
Along Maureen's lines. I mean, there are black gloves. You can purchase them. Generally speaking, for the exact reason that Maureen said, we don't. A lighter color glove shows if we have any fluids on our hands, when they get covered in black powder for processing for prints, like you can obviously see how much is on your gloves so you can exchange them out. We have used them, but we switched away from them.
I want to ask you about, Morgan, about the house specifically, because the sheriff has said that they found DNA in the house that does not connect to Nancy. It's not Nancy Guthrie's DNA and it's not her family or anyone in her inner circle, which I guess would mean that they've swabbed everybody at this point. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I mean, direct comparisons are easier to get through, quicker to get through. You're not uploading into the CODIS database. You're not trying to go through all of those profiles. It's quicker to do a direct comparison to a family member. So I'm assuming right off the bat, they asked for consent from those family members to get some buccal swabs from them and to get them sent to the lab for comparison. I'm guessing that's why you got that news today, that they're going to be able to rule those family members out, I guess, based on the glove, if we're assuming the glove and the house. Whatever that foreign profile is that's unknown at this time, I'm assuming it's coming back to no one.
So when they would go into a house like Nancy's to process it and they say that they found DNA that doesn't belong to Nancy or any of her friends or family, how does that come about? Are they just swabbing the whole house? Like, can you really walk me through how they go about processing a house like this?
So generally speaking, when we go into houses, we want to look for areas that we believe were some point of contact by the suspect. So, I mean, in this case, it's a little more difficult because we don't have Nancy to say, you know, this item was moved or this item has disappeared. So we're looking for areas where maybe it was disturbed, or I'm assuming because the family went to check on her, they noticed areas that looked maybe out of place, or like what they said, maybe some things were knocked over. So you're going to go for those areas. If you're going for door handles where you know the suspect was entering in and out, those areas can be swabbed, but generally speaking, they're a lot more difficult to analyze because how many people have touched that door handle?
Yeah.
We slough off thousands of skin cells daily. So anybody who goes in and out of there potentially could have deposited onto those areas. But
yeah, Evie, you're right. Could the camera dude have dropped them himself too? Yeah, no one's perfect, right?
But if they're saying they have a profile inside the house, I'm thinking that maybe it's something that they specifically swabbed, knowing that it looked like it had been gone through, it was ransacked, it was knocked over, something that led them to that area that they believe they would develop a profile.
If there's a knife out on the counter, you're going to do the handle of that and the blade. If need be, you're going to use alternate light sources. You're going to go through the house very systematically. We in the FBI, we mark every single room, A, B, C, D, F, G, whatever it is. And then we, within there, every time we find any piece of evidence, we photograph it first, of course. And, you know, we're gonna, like for this case, I'll tell you where I would have tested. That guy was in there for 41 minutes. And one time we were called to process a hotel room right after 9/11 where they thought some hijackers stayed, or some people associated with the hijackers. And so I went in there with a bomb tech because we thought that the room might be booby trapped first. Everyone was spread out all over the city. So we go in there. I couldn't find a fingerprint on anything. And I could usually find fingerprints anywhere. We were just about ready to give up. And then I thought, wait, there were 3 men staying in here for 2 days. I lifted up the toilet seat in a place where someone normally wouldn't, with my left hand. And then I processed the whole bottom of the toilet seat. And there were like 25 sets of prints. And so we developed all of them, collected all of them, and turned them into the case agents. So under a toilet, well, that's assuming someone would raise the toilet seat, but in a situation like this. But that guy was in there for 41 minutes. Whatever the heck he was doing, I mean, did he sit down and eat a meal? I would definitely test the handle of the refrigerator, because you'd be surprised how many people, you know, take a powder after they do some nefarious deed.
Okay, that's a good point. I don't know that they sat down and had some banana and oatmeal, but hey guys, question. Hello, anybody know what happened to Nancy's phone? Was there anything on Nancy's phone? I haven't heard one thing about it. All I know is that they didn't steal it. Kidnapper did not take the telefono. I'm sure they already ran a Celebrate report, whatever. Nothing on her phone. Thought maybe they could see if anyone had been reaching out to her or harassing her. Was she looking something up on social media, like anything? Google searches, aka Karen Reed. Let me know if you guys are down for those transcript readings too. I think I want to get into them tomorrow, but I need y'all Karen readers to participate. Haven't heard anything. Nothing said about her phone. No one would explain. I guess the kidnapper wanted to take a little bath time. Nothing. I thought that's weird. The phone thing. I guess maybe not if there's nothing on there, right?
What do you think
When
about
you said
And by nothing on there, I mean nothing that could lead him to the kidnapper, aka subject.
when you said, Maureen, that you thought
AKA.
that he was maybe even high.
Old lady.
Oh yeah,
kidnapper.
I think for sure that guy was high. And
Older lady.
and the other thing about that person that I'd be looking for if I were
My
processing.
grandma made it to 83, so she's a cute little old lady like my my grandma, Nancy.
That scene is after watching that video of him at the entryway, he had that bite mic or that bite flashlight in his mouth. And whenever you're holding anything in your mouth, and you know, like even if there have been a few times I've had an actual flashlight in my mouth because I'm doing something with both hands, your mouth tends to water profusely. And so if he's holding it and just to get it in there right a couple times, he's going to have his saliva all over those gloves. And the transfer for that could be pretty significant, right, Morgan?
Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult too, because his gloves were on before he came up to the door. So what has he touched without gloves? Did he touch that backpack while he was preparing it and transferring his skin cells onto the backpack? And then he touches the backpack with his gloves. He's now transferred that DNA onto his gloves that then could be transferred onto the door handle or somewhere inside of the house. Like, it's easily transferable, which is what we see in law enforcement, especially with touch DNA. It's not a large, like wet sample, blood, semen, saliva. It's a very free, lightweight sample that can travel and transfer easily. So although he thought he might be careful, it's very, very easy to transfer that stuff from other items you've touched. If he bought that weeks ago, if he wore that outfit, got dressed, he might have some skin cells on it. Then he's touching it with, he's just probably accumulating it on the gloves and then transferring it. If he's in there for 40 minutes, and, you know, his hands are starting to sweat, he's in that jumpsuit, like you could now be, you know, you're maybe there's some perspiration going on and dripping from the gloves. It's hard to say. But 41 minutes in the house is a long time to be in there to not transfer something. Maybe not fingerprints, because your fingerprints are going to be covered with your gloves, but DNA.
Brian Koberger, 8 minutes, almost nothing in there.
Definitely.
So if he touched his mouth and then touched the wall or touch the kitchen counter, that would, even with the gloves on, that would then leave DNA?
Yeah, so we have to go in a particular order when we're getting ready to swab something for DNA, because it doesn't. So imagine I put my gloves on and then I put a mask on. All I'm doing is touching my face, touching my hair, touching my ears. So we're, you know, you want to do it in a systematic order. If he put that mask on, or he's worn it before, and then he's now puts on his gloves, but he's going and touching that mask that's on his face, or he coughs or anything, sneezes, anything, he potentially is transferring that DNA onto those gloves that's getting transferred throughout the house.
What were you going to say, Maureen?
If the let's say you go in the bathroom and the medicine cabinet is slightly ajar, you're going to stand there for a moment and imagine, where do I think this guy touched this thing? Where do I think he touched it? And then you may turn out the lights and use an alternate light source. You may just use a really good flashlight, but you're going to then start looking for fingerprints around that door. You know, you're going to, you know, we didn't have the video of how he tried to enter the house, but you can see now he's like a fat finger dude with those double gloves on. And I think the gloves he had under the nitro ones were like those neoprene ones that you get pretty much anywhere, including Walmart. And because they looked thick, they looked squishy, but they didn't look that thick and squishy. So anyhow, you're thinking, where would a guy with those type of gloves on with that size hand, where would he grab? And then you go and look for that, for the DNA, or you're not going to find fingerprints. But back then they could have been looking for fingerprints because they didn't know he was double gloved.
Would they be looking for fingerprints? Well, I guess if they knew he was gloved, you're right, though. The video came out later. So initially they probably were looking for fingerprints all over the place, you think?
We still process for fingerprints a lot of times because more times than not, I cannot tell you that they take off their gloves while they're in there because they're trying to do something and they
I mean, now I'm thinking and questioning, like, what did they do in the house for 41 minutes? Could it be possibly that their getaway car, maybe they had a problem with that, or they were waiting for it? Or was it somebody that knew Nancy? Everyone will be checking their medicine cabinets and now paranoid. Yeah, please hit that like button. What was in the bag? That's a good question too. Going in the bag going in, right? And then we don't know going out. I'm not part of that 100. Nope.
Touch a few things and then they re-glove. We've had where they come in with one glove on one hand. I mean, in this case, I think we see both hands, but it's one of those things where you don't know what they did. You don't have a play-by-play. So it's better to be cautious and to process as if you don't know, so that you get that evidence initially and not, 2 weeks later or weeks after.
With the blood droplets we saw, would they test every droplet or do they just test a couple typically, Morgan?
Generally speaking, we'll only test something that's outside of the norm. So if you have a blood trail and everything's flowing in the trail, but then there's one cast off, like far to the left or far to the right, and it doesn't look like it's within the same flowing pattern as the other blood drops, we'll swab that one. Obviously, we swab the trail, but we're looking for ones that are out of the norm of the blood stain.
With all the cases that you processed over the years, Morgan, were you surprised that they cleared the crime scene so quickly initially, before the FBI even had the opportunity?
Yes, Brian, you were there before, I think, forensic scientists were there.
To come back and do their thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always hard because with the information you get initially, a lot of times it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, because when we first get the info, we're limited on the information that we get. And then as it starts to develop and it develops more, if we've already cleared, then sometimes that's probably what you're seeing is where they're rolling back to the scene and they're doing additional follow-up, where they probably got that video and then we're like, oh shoot, now we need to go and look for those weeds that look just like they were, cast aside on the doorstep. We need to look at areas that were touched. It's hard because it takes a lot of times, days to get more information. And so when they're initially processing what they believe is maybe a missing person or possibly suspicious, maybe there wasn't as much effort that went in initially, but that was based off the info that they had.
Okay, this is something else I want to scream at the top of my lungs. No description, Chastity, of what she was wearing. You know why? Because they have no idea. They have no idea what the hell Nancy was wearing. Right? Wouldn't that be on the wanted or the missing flyer? Hi, Wavy love. Good to see you. I missed you, Wavy. Where you been? Lady. Still, really, that's insane. I know.
What, Maureen, did it surprise you?
Well, for me, if it was processed properly, no, you can release it whenever you think you're done. But I'm going to go through what our protocols are, and I'm sure Morgan will say hers are similar from the state and local side. But before we leave a crime scene, we have a list of about 20 things we have to do before we leave. We have to make sure everything is done. And it's not just one person making the decision. The team will get together and you'll say, hey, do we have everything from room B? Walk me through what you did here, because there's usually only going to be one person that's going to testify. We think all the way to trial when we're doing this. All right, we found this here, we've got the photographs, everything's done. It's all been to scale. You got a close, a medium, a far away shot so that we can recreate it if need be. And then we go through just all of our whole set of protocols to determine, yes, everything that we feel should have been done has been done. At that point, yes, you can release the scene. But in a case like this, when it just started growing so quickly, it just would have made more sense just to put up the caution tape, leave it up, and maybe have, sometimes the sheriff department wouldn't have the manpower to put someone on there 24 hours, because that's a lot of manpower to take away from a department that's covering, what's that county? Didn't they say it was something like 9,000 square miles?
It's huge, yeah.
It's huge. That you can't have a deputy just sitting there the whole time. That family, if you want, we could, they could have hired someone to sit there and secure that place. I don't know if it would be.
Oh my God, didn't we say this at the beginning of this case? Didn't we say this? Okay, guys, wait, I have another concern. Here. So the clothes, right? So what about the no vehicle on the camera? Nothing on surveillance. Leads me to think, did Nancy even leave the neighborhood? I'm back to that thought again.
Considered secure for police purposes, but I guess I see both sides. But in this particular instance, I think they cleared it way too soon, especially since the FBI was coming in. And as a courtesy, I would have locked it down until the FBI got there and said, okay, it looks like everything's been done the way we would want it, because I don't think that was the case.
I actually, to chime in on that, I agree. I would do the same if it was a local investigation and we knew the FBI was coming in to assist, and the amount of resources the FBI has. I don't know that we would have released it at that point. We would have kept it until that FBI or whoever we had requested resources from came in before we released, because once you release it, it's just a little more difficult.
And you have to get another.
Like maybe, well, I don't want to accuse or point fingers, but maybe she's in the neighborhood somewhere.
The warrant.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a warrant and you go in with a consent to search, it's not
a risk.
It's a big risk to have any of that evidence brought in, because the judge signs off on it. That proves that you had probable cause. And so it's a lot easier to have the evidence submitted.
Yeah, I touched on that with Steve Moore, your friend and retired FBI agent, also earlier this week when we were talking about Annie's house, because we were told that Annie's family gave consent for them to search, and he was saying, but even if they gave consent, you would want a warrant regardless, just because it holds up stronger if you end up in court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True.
It's a lot easier to get any evidence thrown out if it was on a consent than if you had a warrant. Basically.
And I want to ask Morgan about this, because you and I talked about this, Maureen, that you think it's possible that there could have been a second suspect, that he was at the front door, this guy who we've seen, and there may have been someone else.
Okay, they make a good point there. What if the guy at the front door wasn't the same guy that went through the back door? We don't have timestamps.
They have ways to look for that when they're processing the crime scene, Morgan. Like, what would they be looking for in that regard?
Without video surveillance nowadays, it's hard to go into a crime scene knowing how many people you're looking for, which is, like we've talked about, why we do what we do in a systematic way every time to ensure we don't leave things behind. It's very, very much routine practices when you get inside. But to know if there was more than one by just looking at the crime scene itself, that would be difficult to decide. As far as there being one, or I think I heard on the news today that someone was saying that they thought a crime of opportunity. And all of my career, I don't know a time when someone would break into a house where they don't know who's on the other side, in the sense of, and then we're going to abduct someone and keep a lady with me. You'd have to be prepared for that. You have to take someone that's almost immobile to your home or wherever you're going to keep them. Like, that's pre-planning. I don't think it's crime of opportunity where you broke in for a burglary and then you took an 84-year-old woman with you. I just don't think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there may have been someone at the back door, Maureen, or when you said you thought there might be two people? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think
I just said.
I think it's likely that someone may have been driving a vehicle, and I think it may have been pulled up into the driveway. I think they may have approached the house with no headlights on, pulled into the driveway, got into the circle, the first part of that circle drive, out of view of that camera or of the front door, and then had that guy who I am convinced was stoned walk up there. But I think he was just trying to, he looked like he was surprised with that camera, but I don't know, why would he even walk up to that front door unless he thought it was open or he had a key? Because when you have a burglar door like that, they're almost impossible. They're impossible to open just, with brute force. And secondly, they have that very thick front oak door that's like a Spanish style. So my only thing with the front door is was he just checking it out to see what the deal was? He hired by someone who said, "Hey, go up to the front door and see if the front door is open or whatever." But the fact that we've heard in a press release that the back door was wide open, the back door was ajar in some way, shape, or form, and the back door is a door that could be breached.
I don't think we actually, sorry to interrupt you, I don't think we know that for sure, actually. And it's confusing because there's been so much different reporting. I think there was someone reporting that about the back door, but they never confirmed it. We don't know for sure.
LE is just discombobulating us with this info, not this info, not true, no DNA, yes DNA, wrong detainment, correct detainment.
Or the back door was open.
There's a lot here, yeah.
But okay, fair enough. But we do know that the back door was far easier to get in than the front door.
Yeah.
There's just no question. Could she have left the screen door open? Maybe. I don't think so. If I'm an old lady living alone, the doors are locked. But could both doors be unlocked? I don't think so.
What do you think, Morgan, with all the scenes you've seen?
What, the front door and back door, like why they would have gone in, or if you think there's two people?
Or how they may have gotten in. I mean, because it doesn't seem like they got in through the front door, maybe left through the front door with the blood, but.
Yeah, that's why I don't think this is just a random crime of opportunity where someone walked up, checked a door, wiggled a few windows. I don't think that's the case. I think there was intent here. I think there was a plan. I think they knew means of access to get in. I just think it's too far-fetched to think that someone just was able to pop open a back door, or by chance her back door was open and someone was at the front door. I mean, it could be. I've worked a lot of crime scene in my days, but I think there's probably reason to believe that this somehow was planned in some way, whether she was a target because she was a little old lady that they'd seen, at her house alone and never seen any other family members living there. And maybe that's the crime of opportunity. But I think there was some planning that went into that day.
There's been a lot of talk, especially on like Twitter, people shocked that there was a pizza delivery guy that went up to the front door. The pool guy, I think, has come twice. There was a landscaper there today. Does that surprise you that these people are allowed to just walk onto the property? Or I guess if it's not a crime scene, is it just, I guess they're not worried about it? I mean, when I mean not a crime scene, I mean, it's not like taped off anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it barely, obviously it's giving you the vibe that it's broken down and that they've gotten everything that they need and they're done. But that's, I mean, it'll pose problems later. If you're literally going to a crime scene and you're processing it after multiple people are seen on video by your news cameras, dropping off pizza, walking through the backyard, doing landscaping. What if a landscaper came across a glove days later? Like, it potentially is going to pose some questions down the road. I think you're seeing them go back multiple times on rollbacks because there is more information coming out. And so then they're popping back over and trying to get more, and then popping back over and trying to get more. I think you're seeing the tents go up because we do that whenever there's media around. We're trying to block what we're investigating because obviously it's really easy for you guys to zoom in and figure out what we're doing, that information to the public. So the tents up and things like that, I think, are just trying to obviously give them some privacy for their investigation. But I think it's all those follow-ups that they're just having more and more questions about as more and more information comes out. But Maureen's 100% right. It's difficult to man a house like that for multiple days, and in this instance, weeks. But if that's where you're at, I mean, that's what you got to do. I think initially, I think that it was probably more presumed to be missing person with a little, then started rolling into foul play, which is why I think it happened quickly. They scooped up the evidence they needed. They cleared it. They thought they were done. And then as they get video and things, that's why you just keep rolling back. That's what's happening.
As always, I really appreciate Maureen for taking the time to talk with me.
Okay, and then we think about the blood. I know I saw you guys talking about it. Also, there's the whole thing with the blood. How did it get there? What's going on? Can we see any video of the last time Nancy was alive or a picture? I thought there was a video that was at Annie's house. Let me see if I can pull it up while we watch this 2-minute clip of Dr. Phil. I'm not a fan of him, but he gives a statement for 2 minutes, and I want to hear what he says. And then I want to get back to Nancy Grace, but somebody on X says Sheriff Nano is either lying or pressured. The family of Nancy Guthrie has not been cleared according to law enforcement. Family won't be cleared until someone is in handcuffs. Interesting. Okay, let's watch this 2-minute clip to see what this man says.
Weeks, America has been asking what happened to Savannah Guthrie's mom. One of those following this case closely, Dr. Phil, who spoke with Stephen Fabian about the status of the investigation.
Like the rest of America, Dr. Phil says the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mom has left him baffled. What makes this kidnapping unusual to you?
One thing a kidnapper wants to do is get rid of their abductee as quickly and quietly as they possibly can, because it's very high risk to hold their abductee. Things can go wrong. It's very concerning that they've not aggressively tried to monetize what they have, which is Nancy Guthrie.
Dr. Phil, an expert in forensic psychology, says most kidnappings last only a few days.
You have to have somewhere to keep them, right? Someone has to monitor them the entire time. They have to be fed. And if they have medical needs, that has to be attended to, because they're of little or no value if they are deceased.
As these weeks go by, there are a lot of theories out there. One is, could this be some sort of revenge plot on Savannah Guthrie?
That would surprise me if that was the case. But those of us that are in the media, we're always subject to that.
When I watched that Ring camera footage, my gut reaction was, oh, wow, we're not dealing with a professional here.
I just don't think they're very good at what they do. There were identifiable wardrobe items, the backpack, the holster, all of these things. Professionals don't do that. They're very careful. They detect where cameras are ahead of time.
Dr. Phil is covering the case on his true crime podcast, The Real Story.
Somebody has the information to solve this crime with one phone call.
To whoever has her.
What did you take away from Savannah's most recent video?
It is never too late to do the right thing.
I think Savannah Guthrie has done about as perfect a job in managing this situation from day one as you possibly could do. She has been non-threatening. She hasn't been intimidating. She wants her mother back.
And it's never too late.
As of today, investigators.
Let me catch up with the comments. Hey, Jesse, good to see you. Yes, please hit the like button. There was a video. I'll try to pull it up in a second. I'm just going to fly out to see. Oh, okay. Yes, Wavy, do it. It was not substantial blood. Anything is possible. Also true. So what could it have been from? Maybe they hit her in the head. Maybe she got cut. It kind of was a lot, right? Like bigger drops, at least my opinion. I know Brian was the first one to walk around the crime scene. Yep. That's true. I'm not a big fan of Dr. Phil, but I figured, hey, let's get his 2 cents in on this. Okay, let's see. Okay, someone on X just posted, and I was going to read this to you guys because I thought it was, since we watched the clip earlier from Harvey. TMZ, Harvey Levins continues to milk the Nancy Guthrie case for all it's worth publicity-wise for his company. There's zero evidence any of this is credible, yet he breathlessly reports it, knowing that it will get him a lot of media coverage. Do you guys agree with that or no? Because we were saying that we're so annoyed with Harvey being like the main ransom note receiver. Let's see what Nancy Grace has to say about this.
And it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here.
Hey, Jay. Good to see you. It's not about being threatened as it is. Where's the plea? There's no emotion, none. Wait, what did you say, Jay? Harvey's a scumbag, in my opinion. You have the right to think that. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him.
We believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Yeah, why is Harvey like the main ransom? Like it literally is blowing my mind. I can't help but think that he's connected maybe. I mean, he does have like a really big, you know, platform, but I guess why not send it directly to the family?
Thing obviously stating she believes her mother, Nancy, is alive. Also at this hour, breaking developments over the last weekend, over the last day. Straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. DNA, tell me everything.
All right, starting at the beginning, Nancy. DNA found at Nancy Guthrie's home has been determined to belong to someone not in close contact with Nancy Guthrie. This is explosive information, as it's the first indicator we have that DNA belonging to someone not related, not in close contact with Nancy, found at the home. Nancy, we also have the glove. The glove found about 1.5 miles from Nancy's home. That too is being tested, and that too has male DNA. The glove with the DNA looks like what the glove we saw in the surveillance video from the Nest camera on Nancy Guthrie's front door. That glove that we saw in that video is what appears to be the glove found in the desert 1.5 miles from her home with male DNA. So those are your two big DNA explosions right now in the investigation.
That's right. The glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home, about 1.5 miles from her home, does contain DNA evidence. All those so-called experts claiming it would not contain DNA are wrong. Also, the glove found with DNA evidence on it appears to be what the suspect in the video was wearing, according to the FBI. The black glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home contains DNA evidence, and it is being tested. We could be hours away from that DNA match. And again, the FBI says the glove appears to match the gloves worn by the suspect on Nancy Guthrie's porch. This guy we're showing you right now. The one with the DNA profile recovered is different from other gloves. What does that mean? That it is different from other gloves? Dave Mack, what other gloves?
Nancy's going to go into, I love her. Rich Betty says this glove is going to help the defense. Oh, if the glove don't fit, you must quit. Listen, we're not doing this again. Soaking this all, loving it. Yep. Like 1.52 miles from the house. What did they pull over and say, hey, let's drop a glove right here? Good question. Drakey, you're not exaggerating. Just a little bit. 16. So 8 pairs.
Nancy, there have been reportedly 16 other gloves, maybe even more, that have been found in this investigation. But Nancy, the 16 gloves that have been found range in different colors, from red to brown to black. They range in the different types of gloves that are available.
Straight out to veteran trial lawyer Josh Colesrue joining us, now criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, founder Colesrue Law Offices. He's joining us from that jurisdiction, Arizona. Josh, in my mind, I have leaped forward to a potential trial. What a field day.
That's what I meant, MSM. 16 gloves, 8 people. I guess that's what I meant, not
the defense will have with these 16 gloves that are unrelated to the perp on the front porch. Because just as the defense was going to do in the Brian Kohberger case with the glove laying out in the parking lot, it's snowing, somebody dropped their glove out there. That was going to be the SOD, some other dude that did it, right? So I'm happy, I'm thrilled we found a glove that seems to match the one, and you and I talked about it, how sweaty his hands must have gotten during all that, and the scenario of him stripping it off and throwing it out the window as he leaves the scene. but the other gloves are a problem, 𝗠𝗲𝗆𝗆.
They are a huge problem for the prosecution. You know, one of the most important things for a prosecutor is the ability to prove chain of custody, to be able to show that this is the item that we're saying that it is. And when you have, I can't believe this, 16 other gloves that were dropped there by, I don't know, volunteers or people working for law enforcement, like it's beyond imagination that they could do this and contaminate the crime scene.
Yeah, it was. They said it was, I thought they said it was the searchers littering, but I'm not sure if they said investigators too. Yeah, 16 gloves. It's literally insane. Yeah, Leisure doesn't have the patience. Leisure just wants to know where Nancy is. That's what I was thinking, purposely thrown around. Why 16? Why that number? It's weird. Nancy was born mad. Look at her eyebrows. You think so?
Straight out to 𝗠𝗲𝗹𝗆𝗆 Ballard joining us. Tammy is a DNA crime scene consultant.
And I'm not sure, you guys, that like how we were saying earlier that they have a list of 40 people with pictures. Like, is that good or bad news?
Crime scene investigation and reconstruction expert. Important tonight, DNA criminalist for the San Diego Police Crime Lab. Tammy Ballard, this is a bombshell. If these are the gloves worn in the video, let's see the video again. And according to police sources, the perp was wearing gloves under the gloves. We don't know that that's true. Whatever the case, DNA has been found on these gloves. Tammy Ballard, and it is male DNA. What comes next?
Next is the CODIS search. So that's going to be the important search. And it sounds like that's going to happen in real time, something like today. And then they'll know if they have some sort of direction to go with that search, if there's a hit. If not, the next step would intuitively be, can we start with the genealogy process and go down that path with a different DNA profile from the same glove? So hopefully it was a single source enough profile that, and there's DNA remaining so that they might have to be able to share that DNA with that second process for genealogy, but it can be a multi-pronged approach to identify the individual as fast as possible.
Tammy Ballard, what is an STR analysis?
That is what I would consider your standard DNA testing. Most forensic laboratories across the country, that is what we have all used. Stands for short tandem repeat testing. Very distinct, regulated, validated locations of DNA that are being tested for potential comparison to suspects or uploads into databases.
Would this be a short tandem DNA test, a short tandem repeat?
Yes, it is. This is a traditional STR profile. That is what all of the forensic laboratories are using to compare to a potential suspect.
Okay, then we will take the STR results and put it into CODIS. Straight out to Brian Fitzgibbons joining us, Director Operations, USPA Nationwide Security. His specialty, finding missing people. He leads a team of investigators around the world locating missing people. Who is in CODIS?
Yeah, so you're going to have everybody in CODIS that law enforcement has had a sample from, or the FBI has loaded into that system. So there's going to be a limited, I mean, it's a vast number of samples, but it is limited in the sense, and Tammy touched on this, that the next step is that forensic genetic genealogy analysis, where you're taking in other sources like Ancestry.com, 23andMe, all those private genetic testing organizations, where investigators will be able to hopefully try to map who this is.
Yes, CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System Anachronism. CODIS is FBI managed. It's software and it operates on local, state, and national DNA databases. It IDs suspects, and they do that by comparing convicted offenders, not necessarily just felons, misdemeanors sometimes too, all of them across the country, missing people, and DNA found on crime scenes. Brian Kohberger's DNA is now in CODIS. Now, here's the problem with CODIS, and CODIS is fantastic. It matches DNA profiles, even from unsolved cases, to individuals and other crime scenes. It also uses the 20 core short tandem repeat genetic markers. Here's the thing. The only people in CODIS, generally speaking, are convicts. So if the perp is not already convicted, then once you put the DNA into CODIS, you may not get an identical match, but you may get an match, which would mean the perp is related to the person in CODIS. It could be a brother, a cousin, a dad, a son, a nephew, a distant nephew, a distant cousin. You'll get a quasi match. And that is what happened in Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer. Once we got a little bit of we had to go back and do genetic genealogy. But right now in CODIS, we will get a match of sorts if there's a relative in CODIS. Tammy Ballard, DNA expert, isn't that true?
Yes, it is going to be a different kind of search in the CODIS database, but first and foremost, you're going to be comparing that traditional STR profile from this unknown male to convicted offenders who's in this database, but also other forensic unknown cases. So samples from other cases that may have identified a potential perpetrator could also be related to this case. So there is more information to glean from that. Then if you would want to do the familial testing right after that, that's going to be another round of testing and comparison. But again, this laboratory that is doing the work does have that in their wheelhouse. So all of that can happen pretty much now simultaneously if they do want to do a genealogy search with additional type of testing as well. I do want to clarify one thing so we don't put the whole genealogy community in panic zone. But if they do the
is this about saying 23andMe private testing labs? Go ahead.
Ancestry.com, and there's only a few places that you can actually allow law enforcement to search in the genealogy databases. That's Family Tree DNA and GEDmatch. So within those two databases, the genealogy search can happen for law enforcement, but Ancestry and the other genealogy companies are not allowing law enforcement to search at this time.
And as a matter of fact, that was one of the problems in the Brian Kohberger case. Certain private genealogical testing labs were used reportedly, which would have opened up a whole can of worms. What this means is that, for instance, if you do 23andMe, you don't agree to have your DNA out there to be used in criminal testing or any other testing. So it's a privacy issue for everyone that uses the website. That said, first to CODIS and then to genetic genealogy. And again, that is how one of the worst killers was brought to justice. A former cop, Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, through genetic genealogy. Okay, so we've got the glove. You've got a contaminated crime scene, which is out in the open, by the way. 16 gloves that we know of were found. Many of those could have been tossed by anybody, not a searcher, but maybe a searcher. This, as we understand, a pool cleaning crew was allowed on the scene. It never ends with the scene being open. That said, there was another.
Yeah, remember we said that. We're like, why is there a pool cleaner when it should still be a crime scene?
Bust on Friday night. What happened, Dave Mack?
Friday night, Nancy, 2 separate locations, okay? Pima County Sheriff's deputies and the FBI conducted this massive late-night SWAT operation just before midnight. We've got SWAT descending on a home in Tucson, and they get 3 people detained, 2 guys and their mom, apparently. But while this is going on, the SWAT team at the house, about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, the FBI has a Range Rover pulled over in a parking lot of a restaurant. That Range Rover person is also detained. So we've got 4 people detained at the same time by SWAT and the FBI and deputies. We've got the Range Rover, a gray Range Rover, that is searched while officers actually held up like a white sheet, blocking the view from cameras to see what they were looking for in the back of that SUV, the Range Rover. And they actually swarmed in both these locations. They interviewed all 3 at the house. They interviewed the Range Rover guy. And then, Nancy, they towed the Range Rover away and let everybody go.
Okay, you know, I don't like the way you said that, Dave Mack. I know, guys, you're seeing video from our friends at Fox News. I feel and empathize with your let them go. Okay, because again, after the last catch and release, everybody's hopes were dashed. You think finally we've caught the perp, we're going to find Nancy Guthrie, she's going to be alive. And then the person's released. Okay, that was Palazuelos, Carlos Palazuelos. Now we've got neighbors about a mile-ish away from Nancy Guthrie's home. There was a big bust. The SWAT team rolled out. The armored vehicles rolled out. We thought, okay, now it's going to be solved. We're going to find Nancy Guthrie alive. And they were released. Another catch and release. I hear your disappointment. But straight out to Scott Eicher joining us, digital forensics expert, founding member of the FBI CAST Cellular Analysis Survey team. FBI 22 years, former police officer, homicide with Norfolk, Virginia PD, and currently at Precision Cellular Analysis. Scott, thank you for being with us tonight. This is how I think they're zoning in on A, Palazuelos, and B, those detained over the weekend that have now been released through cell phone data. Explain.
In these cases, we do a tower dump where we're getting probably thousands of phones that might have been in that area around the time Nancy Guthrie went missing. So we're now finally starting to get through all that data, trying to figure out which ones are normally there, like neighbors, and which ones may have been passing through. And then
we did mention this at the beginning of some of the lives we've covered, guys, that we've said like, oh, towers, anything pinging.
Once you get the phone number, then you have to figure out, all right, who's actually using this phone number? Is it a fake name on the subscriber? So then you have to figure out, all right, where may that phone be? And I suspect that these stops, the last couple you were just talking about, are results of either LPRs or phones being in the area. Now they're just trying to track it down, see who's actually using those phones, and if they're related to the Nancy Guthrie case.
This, as we learn, FBI, they must have been watching Crime Stories, because as soon as the front porch video was released, our awesome staff in New York, Atlanta, Texas, and beyond got together and realized that the backpack was an Ozark from Walmart within, I would say, an hour of seeing it.
Okay, if Walmart can get like information about that backpack, give the reports, receipts, I don't know, surveillance, fine. But again, I said this yesterday, hundreds of people have that backpack.
Angelica and others had identified it.
At Walmart, it's a decent brand, $10.88, $11.17, I think, if you with tax.
Also, our staff identified the jacket, we believe coming from Walmart, and even the ski mask. But now, everybody, you're validated. Law enforcement revealing the clothes worn by the front porch perp were bought at Walmart. Okay, to Iker again.
I did see when JLR was like investigating the Walmart, and they did have to get it from behind the counter, like the glass anti-theft display. So if it was a Walmart in Arizona, I guess they could go through their surveillance and see who they sold the Walmart or a backpack to between specific dates, because they would have had to ask an employee for it. But I mean, what if they didn't get it at an Arizona Walmart? I guess.
I will never forget watching Top Mom Casey Anthony on it's either Walmart or Target video buying beer and a push-up bra.
William.
While her daughter, Keely, was missing.
Yeah.
And it's happened in so many cases, I can't even begin to count them, where a perp is caught on video. Man, why do they always buy a tarp? It's always a tarp and cleaning supplies. That said, what's the next step? Now that we know these items are bought at Walmart.
Once we get that type of information, and we do this with the cell phones too, with burner phones, we backtrack to where those items were purchased so that we can actually hopefully find video of those actual purchases. And as you know, the Walmarts and the Targets, they have fantastic video, and those are really clear, so that does normally help us to identify who actually had those items, purchased those items, or is using that cellular device.
Don't you know the FBI is pouring through local Walmart video? You said something that pierced my heart, Scott.
They're going through the video. I hadn't heard that, but that's good to know. I assumed. Princess says, my thing too is Savannah did this where I'm from on the Today Show where she grew up, but my question is, was it a regular crew who followed her around, or her hometown, or was it a hired crew? That's a good question. Out of Tucson. Yeah, like who was around her, right? And her family. Yeah, we want to know what was in the bag. Okay, we got it. You can get it on Walmart. Like William said, you could probably get it at Swap Meet. You could probably get it on Amazon. Maybe they bought it online. I mean, who knows, right? Where did the 16 gloves come from? That's good. That's a good one.
Iker. Again, you mentioned that Walmart also sells burner phones. You can identify cell numbers in the area.
And I'm not laughing at the case. It's not funny that Nancy's missing and she could possibly be hurt or unalived, but it's funny because we're here sitting trying to put this together, but we're getting all kinds of information. They're playing with our feelings and our feet.
Oh, yeah. I think that's how they got Carlos Palazuelos. I think that's why they honed in on the neighbor that has been released, because their cell phone is active around the time Nancy Guthrie goes missing, and they've done a data dump, and they're isolating phones used in the area in that neighborhood in those hours and then expanding. Burner phones are a particular problem for CAST. Explain the problem with.
Abuelita said, yep, they're on it. They're on to Walmart.
Got it. Burner phones.
Got it.
Well, we all kind of normal citizens have postpaid phones. We use the phone and then we pay our bill. But most of the criminal element world uses burner phones or prepaid phones. And when you go into Walmart, you can buy the phone and buy time, minutes for that phone. And you don't have to put a name on it because you've already paid the phone company. What they want is their money. So you don't have to put a real name or a real address or anything on there. We've seen Bugs Bunny or Roger Rabbit or anything you want to put in the subscriber information or nothing at all. So then we have to figure out who actually has that phone and who's using it.
And that is where the incredible video at Walmart will come into play. So what he's saying in regular people talk
that will
is
be.
you can buy a burner phone under any name, not your own, unlike your AT&T or your VZW or your T-Mobile bill where it's your name and your address. And yeah, you can track that in about a split second. A burner phone, no. You have to find out where was the burner phone bought. Was it on a credit card so you can trace the perp? Was it on video? Walmart has great video.
Yeah.
NASA could take a lesson from Walmart. That said, it's a much more in-depth process because you could even pay with cash. So you may never know if it worked for the video who bought the burner phone used outside Nancy Guthrie's home at the time she was kidnapped. Okay, another thing happened over the weekend.
So now they're assuming that somebody used a phone?
And this is amazing. Dave Mack, tell me about the drone search for Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker.
Nancy, this is something that in reality is an incredible technology tool. Using a drone that is outfitted to actually locate the Bluetooth signal that is sent from the pacemaker back to the Apple Watch. They've been able to fly these drones at low level where they can find these Bluetooth signals, and they've been flying them in a cross-grid pattern at low levels all over the Guthrie neighborhood, as well as areas of the desert. You know, they began 4 days out using helicopters flying very low and doing a grid search, and they were also using technology then to try to locate the pacemaker. But the drones take it to a whole new level with different technology that really does zero in specifically on this pacemaker Bluetooth.
Tyler, you asked a great question. We did cover that earlier, I think. Are there any timestamps in the footage? No, we've been asking that for this whole time. I think since we got the footage on that very first live that it was released, we said, where's the timestamps? We thought that was odd. Burner phone possibly to write the ransom note to TMZ is what she means. Yeah, you could be right. But maybe they didn't do it outside the house. Clearly, right? Let's watch a little bit more of this and then I'll read you guys some information on the, what is it called? The sniffler thing? The signal sniffer. I want to read something on that.
Information to the doctor's office or the clinic or the hospital. That ends. It doesn't have GPS in it. But the viewer wasn't half wrong. She was all right because they can't be traced through that Bluetooth frequency. It may not be connecting to the clinic or the doctor, but it's still emitting. It's brilliant. Fitzgibbons, explain to me how they're doing this. How low do the drones have to fly?
Yeah, so the viewer's logic was spot on, right? And this technology has been around for a good amount of time and had a fair degree of success, particularly in search and rescue operations. All right, so these could be used after a natural disaster or, you know, a hiker lost in the mountains. You know, the distance is going to vary, right? Anywhere from 30 to hundreds of feet in the air. It's all going to depend on the power of that signal being emitted. So I don't think there's an exact science on the pacemaker and how far the drone would need to be. But what I can tell you is they'll be able to zero in on the signal that pacemaker creates to filter out all the noise, because unlike a massive grid search in a remote area that these search and rescue applications are used to, this is flying over populated areas where there's going to be a lot of signal noise that they have to filter out.
And Brian, here's the good news about pacemakers. My dad had a pacemaker. My mom has a pacemaker. Everyone's asking, what if the battery runs out? Batteries in pacemakers usually last 5 to 15 years.
Yeah.
With 7 to 12 years being the normal time the battery will last.
I guess we should know now, when did she have her battery? When did she get that pacemaker, or how long has she had it in for?
Asked. Why? Because to change a battery in a pacemaker, you actually have to operate. It's probably a simple operation, but you still have to go in. The person has the pacemaker in their chest, and you have to change the batteries. So you don't want to do that very often with a heart patient. So the norm is 7 to 12 years, 5 at the earliest, 15 at the longest. So I'm not worried about the battery going out. Now, very quickly, I want to follow up. Just joining us now, special guest, Dr. Bethany Marshall. She is a renowned
Nancy's like, it's not the battery.
Analyst out of Beverly Hills. She's the author of Deal Breaker.
Don't get
You can
into
see her
it.
now on Peacock, and you can find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, when I showed
update as of 16 minutes ago, it is reported on X from neighbors on Ring Neighbors app in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, a couple miles away from Nancy's home. Somebody said a helicopter has been flying around for the past 20 minutes. Anyone know what's going on? Oh,
that video,
it's not related. Maybe it is.
Video of Savannah Guthrie. It broke my heart. When I saw it for the first time, I felt nauseous thinking about Savannah. She is so exhausted and she's not giving up.
No, she is not, Nancy. And she goes out and she makes these statements without the studio lighting, the studio makeup, any of the trappings of her profession, which she could use to try to appeal to whoever took her mother, but she is coming out just as herself. And in the very first video, Nancy, she keeps using the word you. She's trying to form a relationship with whoever the perpetrator is. And in this one, when she says that she believes that there's goodness in everyone, she's trying to create empathy, that empathy on the part of the perpetrator towards her family. She's not coming out harsh or angry, or we're going to come after you, or we're going to find you. Nothing punitive, Nancy. She is soft. She is engaged. And Nancy, I kind of feel like she might know who she's speaking to.
That's what I said when we played the video earlier. It is a personal thing. I thought they said it was imperative that she had medicine every day could be fatal. Yeah, allegedly they said. That's what I thought too. But then I heard that maybe she did take her meds, but then law enforcement said they didn't have her meds. The kidnappers, that they left him there. They left everything there. They didn't take any of her belongings.
Into somebody's eyes and heart, metaphorically, and saying, I know you, you know me. We are both human beings. Please, please bring my mother back. And she's sort of implying no consequences as well, which of course there will be consequences, but she's also trying to remove fear on the part of the perpetrator.
Well, I can tell you this, 𝗠𝗲𝗹𝗆𝗆. I'm going to go back to Bethany in one moment. The consequences will be a hell of a lot worse if Nancy Guthrie dies.
Absolutely. You know, in Arizona, we certainly have a reputation for using the death penalty. And this certainly would be a case that would qualify if she is later found to have passed away. Now, what's interesting about this case is that there may be a parallel prosecution. And we've seen this before in Arizona in another high-profile case. Senator Mark Kelly, you know, his wife, Gabby Giffords, was shot and almost killed, along with federal judge John Roll. In those two cases, you both had the federal prosecutors prosecuting at the same time as the state. And what I found really interesting, Nancy, is that on Friday, the feds executed a federal search warrant, not a state search warrant. And this could be an indication of the friction that is happening between the feds and the state. Because I'll tell you, when I was both a state prosecutor and a federal prosecutor, when I was on the state side, I often worked with the FBI and I would draft and issue the subpoenas. What I would never expect would be for the same FBI agents to go to the U.S. Attorney's Office to do their own parallel investigation, cutting me out of it. So, you know, this is a really interesting development.
Should the sniffer technique have been used earlier?
I have two gripes about this, Nancy. The first is, in any missing persons case, the most important time to gather and collect evidence is at the very beginning. And by all reports, this so-called sniffer technology wasn't used for at least 2 weeks after Nancy Guthrie was discovered missing.
Yeah.
Also, what I don't like about this move is to tell the public what it's doing with that type of technology, because you're signaling to the bad guys that we're looking for your Bluetooth devices. And, bad guys have been known to try to destroy evidence so they don't get caught. And I would be concerned that this could put Nancy Guthrie in mortal peril should the bad guys be listening to the reports on TV.
Okay, so if you want to finish Nancy, you can go and support her and watch the rest of that live. I want to see what SF Investigates just posted on X. I know not a lot of you are a big fan, but I think he has good information sometimes. So let's see. He says, I've had many people ask why a drone is not being used instead of a helicopter for the signal sniffer. I put together a simple graphic, which I know isn't great, but hopefully it helps explain the issue. A drone must maintain a signal connection between the ground and controller and aircraft. When flying at a low altitude, the farther the drone gets from the controller, the shallower the signal angle becomes. In a residential neighborhood, the roof line of homes can interrupt the signal path and cause a loss of connection between the drone and the controller. The power poles are also an issue. To be effective, the signal sniffing equipment would likely need to operate at a very low altitude, around 50 feet or less. In a neighborhood like this means that dealing with your power lines throughout the search area. Drone obstacle avoidance systems often struggle to detect power lines, and the line themselves can create signal interference for the aircraft. Even if those obstacles were not an issue, I'm not sure whether Pima County currently has an operational drone program. In December, DJI drones, which are used by roughly 90% of the public safety agencies, were banned by the federal government. As a result, many enforcement and search and rescue agencies are temporarily without drones while they seek funding to purchase U.S. manufactured alternatives. Thermal-capable public safety drones typically start around $26,000 each. Once agencies receive them, pilots must be trained, and there's currently a long backlog of orders. If this were an open terrain search, a drone might be the better option. So that's what the helicopters make more sense. Got it. Okay. I think that's kind of what Nancy was saying right now. Let's read. I just checked, like I said, we were just reading X. Let's go to CBS. They do like daily updates. So I just want to make sure we don't skip anything. And let me refresh one more time on Pima's. Nope, nothing. So we'll have to just wait for tomorrow. Oh, farmer tells built like a Bluetooth. Okay, they're talking about the pacemaker thing. So nothing new on X. This one, let me just make sure we don't miss anything. Trump says abductors would face death penalty if Guthrie is found dead. President told New York Post today that Guthrie's abductors would face the most severe federal consequences if she were found dead. Asked by the Post if that meant Justice Department would request a death penalty in that situation, Trump answered the most, yeah, that's true. Sheriff says update about Guthrie family was out of kindness. Pima County Sheriff Nanos has sent a message today about the Guthrie family because of concerns they could be attacked unfairly. Nanos said in a statement earlier today that the Guthrie family, including all siblings and spouses, have been cleared. Listen, Nanos, you're the one being shady. Don't come to us and tell us that we're the problem. No, you're the one having beef with the FBI. Don't involve us in your drama. Nanos, in a text message this evening, explained his reasoning in issuing the update, because sometimes we forget we're human, quote unquote, and we hurt, and kindness matters. It is every cop's duty to stand up and be the voice for our victims. Nancy's a victim, as much as Savannah is too, but chill out. I'm not going to sit in silence when others are attacking the innocent. Isn't that what the badge represents? In the earlier message, Nano said the family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are the victims in the case. There are now between 40,000 and 50,000 leads in the Guthrie case. Wow. That's absolutely insane. If she has a pacemaker, she's most likely I'm going to let her take every day. Oh, I see what you're saying. You cannot clear anyone until it's over. I agree with that. Yeah, most states, a homicide will commission of another crime is capital punishment. He should not have said anything. Don't give ideas. Yes, Drakey. Staying up late. Chula Vista Police Department feds have high-tech drone program, which a court ruled that the video evidence is not public information because it is classified and is as investigation evidence. Okay, Agent Orange. Good shit. Thank you for letting me know that. Do they have proof she made it home yet? That is my question. I have been saying that since day one. I said, do we even know she made it home? How do we know the perps and the subjects aren't the ones who opened the garage? If there was one already in the house that went in through the back door, maybe the one at the front door went through the side. Maybe they were working in conjunction. Clearly, I thought my theory was, did she even make it home? Can we verify that? What was she wearing? And two, I guess whoever dropped her off is clear, quote unquote. And footage of the garage. So that would, I guess, go with what was she wearing and who opened the garage. And was it open like by code? Can they tell? I'm wondering if it was just like a push-in code, automatic, was open from the inside. Like, are they able to tell any of that information? I can't wait to look back on this once some closure happens. Oof. It's always a possibility. Taco Stain says, RIP Nancy. Okay, Taco Stain's, giving us his real feelings about this. We found Maduro. That's what I said the other day. I was like, really? We can't find Nancy? I think that note was put on purpose for someone to feel comfortable to fly home thinking they ain't being looked at no more. Okay. Never give up hope. Good one. Never give up hope. Canvass of gun stores done several days ago. A federal law enforcement official said today that agents conducted a canvass of gun stores several days ago as part of Nancy Guthrie's investigation. The official said that no canvasses was done today. If a specific lead requires additional canvassing, it could be possible, the official noted. Things are still very fluid and we are out on many leads. The federal official noted that this is part of the regular investigative process. The official further cautioned that too much public exposure or reporting on specific steps can be taken by law enforcement, whether accurate or inaccurate, gives the perpetrator a window into the investigation. Again, we said that earlier. There's so many damn people involved, boots on the ground, false stories, accurate stories, missing details. Like there's just a bunch of shite going on in this case, Let me put myself in. So, day 16 into Nancy Guthrie. We've gone over Pimas County. We've gone over NBC updates. We've gone over all the videos released as of today from sources like Brian Enton, Nancy Grace, Megan Kelly, which I find are somewhat reliable. Actually, Brian Enton, they are all reliable. There's one I don't know about, but I guess she's all right. Okay, so nothing right now. So we're all caught up. Are you caught up? Are you caught up? No heart medication and pacemaker. Things just don't add up. No. I don't see anyone keeping and taking care of her for this long. Makes no sense. I'm still blown away by the pool cleaning. This blew me away. I was like, wait. And then I think it was today or yesterday, they had landscapers. So I guess the family wants to take care of the house, while Nancy's missing. That's nice. I'd like to know who's calling the landscaper and the pool cleaner in the middle of literally possibly her kidnapping and her death. If not, hopefully she's found alive. Oh, okay. I'll have to check them out. Hey, Rudy. Oh, thanks, Rudy, for renewing your membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are going to be redoing the memberships too. I'm deleting one of the levels, so you guys will have, it'll be cheaper. But we do, I will be doing a lot more members content this week, so get ready for it. Get your membership. There's a lot of reasons why. They got the completion for the protection. Pay attention. That's true. Wait, what do you mean? Whose protection? Oh, they got the complexion? How come Savannah only, that's what I said earlier, William. She's the only one making videos. They're not a united front. That's why I said maybe Savannah could possibly be like a target too. Savannah and Nancy, especially since she was in the media and TV a lot. And oh, skin tone. Okay. You know, she's out there. And then her husband used to work with Clinton. So there's the Epstein files. There's a lot. She's very well known, very much out there. You know, Melly, they did start out united. Yeah. It was then 3, then Savannah alone, then the brother, then another united, and then all the last 3 I think have been Savannah. Let's go look at her page real quick so we can see. So we're here. We can maybe watch it one last time for those of you who haven't watched it, but we've been playing it all night. So, oh, I'm too small on the screen. Okay. So let's see. It was them 3 here. Let's watch them all. Let's see how it goes, and then we'll be done. Let's watch them all so we can go back to
our family.
So this is the very first one.
We want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Allegedly, that's the line from Silence of the Lambs. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be
like what pain and grief? I'm just curious.
Merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you. Our mom is our heart and our home. She is 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
So this one, it was very much like they're talking to her mom, their mom, right? I'm going to show you guys a Silence of the Lambs clip where that line is taken from, but that was the very first one, right? Okay, now let's watch the second one ever released of the brother.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact. This is
Okay, so United, then him by himself, then United again. This is the next video.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. We received your message, and we understand.
We will pay. Very short, more like, okay, fine, here, fine. We'll give you what you want.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Okay. And then this is her next one, Alone.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
Okay. Literally, we're going in order as they came out. Then they release this, the suspect, subject, the pictures. Remember the surveillance pictures that we've seen in videos. And then she posts this of the actual video photos, and then videos and the FBI number and whatnot. And then she posted this like video of her and her mom and her sister, which made me kind of sad. And Nancy when they were little girls. And then the final one was today.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to
Yeah, I remember the first few people were saying that the FBI kind of prompts you to like to give that like a scripted thing. I don't know.
whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Okay. And I know Green Knight said she wanted to see, you know, they do that. Remember, we've seen it on the CSI where they have to do scripted, you know, to get to the perpetrators emotionally and psychologically. I'm going to share, we're going to watch the clip of the Silence of the Lambs where she says that line. I don't know if this was intentional or what, but it's a little bit weird.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Let's watch it again.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
People were tripping about this when it first came out. I feel like she's talking to the guy who wanted $50,000 up front. You know what, abuelita? Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I mean, anything could be true at this point. Shit, we don't even know. Word for word, not a coincidence. One more time. One more time.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? Let me know. Intentional, not intentional, maybe. I don't know. Ooh, that was weird. Go watch. I still have to watch that MSM. I think it's been a while since I've seen it. This is what made me suspect the FBI because they have been using old film lines. Sounds like a like. Is she a horror word for word? Yeah, I don't know. I know it's weird. It's very weird. Yeah, her mom might be missing, but her demeanor is off. It's almost like, what is she even saying? I don't know. Maybe she liked the quote. Maybe. In order to sell them, you get people to believe you have to put the emotional strings. Yeah. Abuelita sends mindfuck torture. Yeah. Love you, Vanjie. Thanks for being here. See you tomorrow for the lives. Appreciate you. A psyop? Also possible. I guess at this point, anything. I just hope that Yahweh said that, princess. Like, why wouldn't she just pay the $50K? I have to sneeze. Eliminate that person as well. Yeah. And why Harvey from TMZ. Okay, I'll watch it. Intelligence has wrote worse scripts. True. Rise the reward so little. Hey, everyone, it was $2,500 to start. And then it went up to 50,000 and now it's 100,000. And allegedly it's all coming from the FBI. I don't know if why the family doesn't do one, or maybe they are supplying the money. I don't know. But, you know, let's not forget Savannah Guthrie's husband worked for Clinton. So I'm sure he has money, and Savannah has 50 million herself. 50 million that you can't take to the grave. So I would probably just pay it if it was my mom, but that's just me, you know, like I wouldn't really care about 50,000, 100,000. I don't know. But what I do know is that you will tap the like button on your way out of the live, please. Shout out to you guys for being here. We're 3 hours. 3 hours. Jeff Bezos is a part of Epstein. No one, MSM. I love Amazon. Shout out to you guys for being here. Tomorrow, I wasn't live during the day today because I had family time and other stuff going on, but I do plan to be live tomorrow early. So if you're into Epstein, Kenzie, Gypsy, having fun, I think tomorrow we might do an after dark. Drink some buzz balls if you're into that type of thing. Maybe make it members only because, you know, people be talking shit. We'll see. We'll see what the vibe is. We'll see what the vibe is. 3 hours? Yes. I know I wanted to do an after dark, but I think I should get refreshed for tomorrow's lives. Oh, the buzz balls. You don't like them, Taco Stain? Thank you, Boo. Love you guys for being here. Appreciate all of you. Like I said, are you saying ew to the buzz ball? That's funny. Anyways, shout out to you guys. Please, please, please tap the like button because it's really helping your girl, because I'm being censored. I'm reviewing Epstein files and it's demented, disturbing shit. So YouTube is censoring me. So now I gotta come on here and sell my feet. Just kidding. For educational purposes. It's 2 a.m. here. Jiggy, get your ass to bed. I've never seen my... Yeah. Shout out to my mods too. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Tap that like button on the way out. I will schedule all the lives for tomorrow shortly. And day 17 tomorrow. All right. Well, let's hope Nancy is found. I really do. I hope she's found okay. I'm starting to become a little sad over this. Good night, everybody. Happy Taco Tuesday. Yeah. But also, where's all the missing people in the Epstein files? Anyways, yes, let's hope for the best for Nancy. Bring Nancy home. Justice for Carlos. Justice for Nancy. Shout out to all of you. Have a good night. And I'll see you tomorrow on the next live.